A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
And now, tonight's presentation of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense. Tonight, we bring you a story of death and 11 roses. We call it The 12th Rose. So now, starring Paula Winslow, here in play, The 12th Rose.
Miss Robin. It's the maid, Miss Robin. I got some clean towels for...
The place, New York City. The time, 12:15 p.m. Dolores Robbins had been young and pretty. The details of her murder were not. The sprawled position of her body and the instrument of murder indicated that the act had not been premeditated. A dozen roses were in the apartment, 11 of them in a large vase near the body. Running around and up the length of each stem to give the blossom support was a single strand of green wire. The killer had circled the girl's neck with a long stem of the 12th rose and then twisted. And although the stem itself had broken, the wire had not. 55 minutes after the maid discovered the girl's body, 2 detectives from the Homicide Division began questioning her.
Mrs. Williams, how often did you clean in here?
Every day but Sunday. She wasn't due for service but twice a week, but she always gave me a little something extra.
And you were in here yesterday?
Yes, sir. Yesterday afternoon.
Were these roses here then?
No, sir.
You're sure?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any idea where they might have come from?
No, sir. But no girl looking like she looked is going to have to buy them for herself.
Now, what about the box or wrapping paper they came in? You know where it might be?
Well, if Miss Robbins threw it in the trash before 8 this morning, it'd already be burned up. If she put it in after 8...
She didn't. She was killed late last night.
Oh.
Mrs. Williams, did you ever see her boyfriend?
Well, she didn't have a regular boyfriend.
But she went out once in a while, didn't she?
Yes, sir. I suppose she did.
Was she here when you came in to clean yesterday?
Yes, sir.
Did she say anything about having a date last night?
No, sir. Not to me, but...
Yes? Go on.
Well, I was just about through when she got this phone call. She'd been washing her hair, and I was finishing up dusting. And I heard her say she'd met a real nice man and thought she might see him that night.
She mentioned his name?
I don't think so. At least not while I was here. I finished up and left before she got off the phone.
Well, you know who she was talking to?
Yes, sir. Miss Butler. She and Miss Robbins were real good friends. If you want to talk to her, she lives in the building next door.
Mildred Butler confirmed the maid's statements. She remembered the telephone conversation that she had had with the Robbins girl. She remembered the victim telling her about a man she had met the night before. Miss Robbins had not said where or under what circumstances they had met, but she had indicated that asked if she had been told the man's name. The Butler girl replied that she had. It was Carl Owens. The 2 detectives returned to the victim's apartment.
Pete, you ever buy roses for your wife?
2 girls in high school.
Are you kidding? You know anything about it?
Sure. Some are red and some are yellow.
When I was a kid, Pete, my folks had a greenhouse. They used to raise them. All kinds. These are just average.
How can you tell?
Well, look at the stems. They're wired to keep them from drooping. Now, a good rose, you don't have to wire the stems. They'll stand up straight for days.
Well, what do you call these, you know?
Yeah, happiness.
What are you, a detective? You really think we got a chance of getting them, Lou?
If we're lucky, and if Owens is his right name.
Lab boys didn't find any good prints.
We might not need them.
Huh?
We'll just locate every Carl Owens between 20 and 40 who works or lives here in this area. Some of them will be eliminated automatically. Those that aren't, we'll consider possible suspects. Then, Pete, if we're still lucky, we'll get someone to identify the killer.
But nobody saw him.
Oh, you're wrong, Pete. Somebody did.
Yeah? Who?
The florist that sold him these roses.
Suppose the florist doesn't remember.
Well, the way the papers are going to play this one up, they'll remember.
There's just one thing.
Yeah.
Suppose the killer is thinking like we are.
How do you mean?
Suppose the killer remembers the florist.
At 9:33 that evening, Miss Helen Craig, the manager of a small flower shop on the east side, adjusted the thermostat on the refrigerated display case. A moment later, her employee, Nancy Wassel, crossed to the front windows and pulled the shades. The shop was closed for the night.
Oh, thank goodness. I didn't think the day would ever end.
Want me to bring some iced tea tomorrow?
Well, if you like. We can keep it cool in the display case. Oh, and Nancy.
Yes?
Stop off at the wholesalers in the morning and pick up 3 dozen long-stemmed roses.
Any particular kind?
You'd better get, Happiness. I sold the last of them while you were out yesterday.
Is that all we need?
Until Monday. You can tell Mr. Leeds I'll see him then.
Oh, that must be Joe. My seamstress?
Well, let's see. Yes, fine.
You don't mind if I leave?
No, run along. I'll wait for Max to check in.
Thanks, Miss Craig. Night.
Good night.
Good evening.
Oh, my. You gave me a fright. I didn't hear you come in.
You had your head in that showcase.
Why, aren't you the gentleman I waited on yesterday afternoon? That selected the roses?
Oh, you do remember me then?
Oh, yes. It would be hard to forget it.
Yes? Go on.
Well, you're tall and... oh, please. Now you're embarrassing me.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. You all alone here?
Why, yes, I was just getting ready to leave. Why?
Just curious. Were you going right home? Or was someone coming to meet you here?
Well, really, Mr...
Johnson. Bill Johnson, Miss Craig.
Oh, you know my name? Well, how does that happen?
It was printed on the receipt you gave me. Helen Craig, manager. You're too attractive to be a manager.
Oh, please.
No, really. I think you are.
Now, Mr. Johnson, it's taken me a good many years to get used to this face. And now that I am, I resent anyone insulting my intelligence by trying to flatten it.
Oh, you've got a temper, too.
Well, I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. I like a woman to have a little fight. Makes her much more interesting.
Oh, and how often do you fight? Oh, excuse me.
What is it?
The delivery man. I have to let him in.
Miss Craig.
Yes?
I suppose you know by now I didn't come here to buy flowers.
Oh?
I just stopped by to deliver a message from my mother.
Your
Yes. She wanted you to know how much she liked the roses.
Oh, well, now I am flattered. But I thought...
Yes? What did you think?
Well, when a gentleman buys roses, they're usually for a young lady.
The only girl I've got's my mother. She's in the hospital.
Johnson.
That's a promise, Miss Craig. I'll see you real soon.
You are listening to The 12th Rose. Tonight's presentation in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense. Tomorrow night, a self-styled tycoon sets himself up as an energetic but not exactly legal stockbroker. For a while, business booms. But once the FBI in peace and war get on his trail, the shady operator discovers that the bottom has fallen out of his market. Don't miss a thrill. Don't miss a moment of the next exciting episode of the FBI in peace and war over most of these same stations tomorrow night. And now we bring back to our Hollywood soundstage Miss Paula Winslow, starring in tonight's production, The 12th Rose, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
4 o'clock the next morning, a milkman left a quart bottle. Just a half hour later, Helen opened the door, letting Napoleon, their cat, into the kitchen. At the same time, she picked up the quart of milk. She didn't notice that someone had tampered with the protective cap on the bottle, not even when she poured some of the milk into a dish for the cat.
There you are, Nappy boy. Well, what got you up so early on a Saturday, Peg?
I decided to go to the beach for the weekend.
Oh? You didn't say anything about it last night.
I just made up my mind. Besides, I was asleep long before you got to bed.
Well, sit down. I'll pour the coffee. How are you going?
I'm on the train. I've got to hurry. It leaves at 8:15.
Now, Nappy, be quiet and drink your milk. Who are you going with, Peg?
Betty Mills and another girl from the office. They've rented a cottage for their vacation. I'll be home late Sunday. Hey.
Well, what's the matter?
You. What have you done to yourself?
Oh, well, nothing much. I just used a little rinse on my hair and sort of combed it over on the side.
So that's what you were doing last night.
It looks awful, doesn't it?
Oh, no. I like it, Helen. Really.
Who is he? Who do you mean?
You know who I mean. The man you've met. The one that's fixing up Pittsburgh. What's his name? How'd you meet him?
Well, his name is Johnson. He came into the shop for the first time day before yesterday to buy some roses. And then last night he came back to tell me how much his mother likes them.
Oh, that's a lot.
Said it would be soon.
Oh, I hope. Napoleon, for heaven's... Oh, and something's wrong with him.
What? Nappy. He's sick. Well, he was all right a minute ago.
Well, he's not now. Look at him.
Oh, get a blanket, Peg, and call a cab. I'll take him to the vet.
Craig?
Oh, yes?
Thank you for waiting. I'm Dr. Michaels.
Oh, yes, Doctor. How is Nap? My cat.
Well, I'm afraid I have bad news for you, Miss Craig. He's dead.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry. You see, there was very little we could do.
Oh, but what caused it?
Well, now, we can't be sure without a laboratory examination, so
What do you think it was?
Poison, Miss Craig. I think someone may have poisoned him.
By checking through the Records Bureau, DMV, various credit bureaus, state employment agencies, and finally by referring to the Manhattan telephone directory, Detectives Clymore and Carter located over 40 men with the name of Carl Owen. Of this number, 9 could be classified as suspects in the murder of Dolores Robbins, who had sold one of them the roses found in the dead girl's apartment. Time, 9:20. Helen Craig arrived at the flower shop.
Craig, have you seen the papers? Did you read about it?
About what, Nancy?
The Rose murder.
The what?
The girl that was choked to death with a happiness rose. The murderer bought some roses for this girl day before yesterday, and when she took him to her apartment, he choked her to death. Isn't it the most exciting thing you've heard?
Oh, please, Nancy, I'm not in the mood.
But he could have bought those roses here.
I'm sure he didn't.
Well, how do you know? Didn't you sell a dozen of those roses while I was out that afternoon?
Yes.
To a man?
Yes, to a man.
Well?
Before you let your imagination run away with you, I happen to know he bought them for his mother.
Oh.
Has anyone called me this morning?
Only Max. He'll be a few minutes late. Something wrong with the truck. Oh, and I got the roses. They're in the display case.
Oh, thank you. I'll be out to wire them in a minute.
The roses the murderer bought were wired. Does everyone wire the stems the same way?
Nancy, please. I'm depressed enough without having to listen to a second-hand account of a cheap murder.
I'm sorry. I just thought you'd be interested.
Well, I'm not. And if you haven't anything to do back here, I'd appreciate it if you'd leave me alone.
Miss Craig, what is it?
Right. Oh, dear, this is silly of me. You remember our cat, Napoleon?
Yes.
Well, he's dead. The vet thinks somebody poisoned him.
Oh, no.
Of course, he's not sure yet, but if he was poisoned...
I'll get her. Madison Flower Shop. Yes, she is. Would you like to speak? Hello? Hello? That's funny.
Wrong number?
No. He asked if you were here, and I told him you were. He hung up.
Carl Owens had arrived at his office in the chemical industries warehouse at 9:30 that morning. He was rather pleased with himself. He had encountered no difficulty in putting a certain tasteless poison in the Craig woman's milk bottle. He knew now, after making the phone call, that she had not touched the milk. But she would, in time. And he was sure he had plenty of time. Mr. Owens.
Carl, what have you been up to?
What? Who is it?
Janet, honey, in personnel.
Oh, Jan.
Mr. Hall received a phone call from somebody a few minutes ago, and whoever it was sure asked a lot of questions about you.
Oh? Like what?
Well, I couldn't hear everything Mr. Hall said, but I did hear him give out your address.
My address?
Mm-hmm. What'd you do, honey? Apply for credit somewhere? Carl?
Oh, yeah, I was going to get something on time, but I've changed my mind. Time, 2:20 p.m. Nancy what?
Relax, Miss Craig. It's just me. Anything happen?
Oh, Mrs. Williams called. She wants a centerpiece of stock and carnations for tonight. Oh, I'll get it, Nancy. Oh, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Say, these roses here in the case, the ones with their stems wired, they're called happiness, aren't they?
Yes, that's right.
Very nice. And these here marguerites, huh? I haven't seen any of those in several years.
Well, would you care?
No, I'm here on business. My name is Carver, police. Here's my identification.
Oh, yes, Lieutenant.
Is there anyone else working here who sells the flowers?
Only my assistant, Miss Wassel.
Would you call her, please?
Why, surely. Oh, Nancy, would you come out here, please?
Coming.
This won't take very long, miss. Just a couple of questions.
Nancy, this is Lieutenant Carver from the police.
Good afternoon.
Oh, I'll bet you hear about that murder.
Yes, that's right.
I read about it in the papers.
She's done a good job of filling me in on the gory details, Lieutenant.
Good. That saves us both time. Now, do either of you remember selling a dozen of the happiness roses to a man day before yesterday, probably in the afternoon?
I didn't sell any that day, but Miss Craig did.
Oh? Do you have a record of that transaction, Miss Craig?
Well, I know it was cash.
Could you identify the man if necessary?
Yes, but I know he isn't the one you're looking for.
What makes you so certain? Is he a regular customer?
Well, no, he's not.
Well, does he have an account here?
No. Mother, she's in the hospital.
I see. You had them delivered, I suppose?
No, Mr. Johnson took them himself.
Johnson?
Yes, that's his name, Bill Johnson.
Well, that ends that. For a minute there, I thought we had something. Now, no one else bought any that afternoon.
No.
I'll be very sure. Your life may depend on it.
Why do you say that, Lieutenant?
I don't want to frighten you, miss, but the florist that sold those roses is the only person that could identify the killer.
Oh, and with the florist out of the way?
Well, I won't take up any more of your time. Thank you for your cooperation.
You're quite welcome.
Miss Craig,
Yes?
may I buy one of those happiness roses?
Oh, well, you can't buy it, Lieutenant. But I'd be very glad to let you have one.
Thank you very much.
When you have time, stop in again, Lieutenant.
I'd like to. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Well, what a charming gentleman. Oh, I'll get it.
You didn't tell me you knew the man that brought those roses.
I don't tell you everything, Nancy. Medicine Flower Shop.
Miss Craig, please.
Speaking.
Well, Dr. Michaels, Miss Craig. I had the laboratory report on your cat.
Oh, yes, Doctor.
He was definitely poisoned.
Oh, I see. Do you know how the poison was given to him?
Yes, it was in milk.
What?
It was given to him in milk.
Oh, but that's impossible. I gave him his milk this morning.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Miss Craig?
Oh, no.
If there is poison in that milk,
I know, Doctor. If there is, it wasn't meant for Napoleon.
Time, 6 p.m. Nancy Wassel crossed to the front windows and pulled the shade. The shop was closed for the night. 45 minutes later, Helen Craig was alone in the shop. She turned off the lights in the sales room and went into a small office where she began checking over accounts payable.
Let's see, William, here it is. $42.20. Yes? Is someone out there? Who is it? Who is it?
Good evening, Miss Fay.
Oh, who is it?
It's only me, Miss Fay.
Oh, Mr. Johnson. Oh, you gave me such a fright. Oh, wait, I'll turn on the light.
I know.
What? But why not?
Well, I haven't been home all day. I'm dirty and tired, and I'd rather you didn't see me when I'm not looking my best.
Oh, really, Mr. Johnson?
You expecting anyone?
No, not tonight. Nancy had a date with her boyfriend, and Max has gone home to his family.
Well, what are you doing working here so late?
Oh, trying to catch up on my paperwork. Mr. Johnson, are you hungry?
What?
Have you had anything to eat?
Well, no, what?
Because I'm starved. I had Miss Waddle go down to the delicatessen for a couple of sandwiches this afternoon, and I thought you might like to share them with me. I hate eating by myself. Would you like one?
Sure.
Oh, good. They're here in the display case. It makes a wonderful refrigerator, too. Now, let me see. There's a chicken and a ham. Which do you want?
Oh, I don't know. Ham's okay.
Well, here we are. And I think, let me see. Yes, this one's ham.
Thanks.
We can sit right down at this table.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Thanks.
Oh, I almost forgot something to drink. We've had iced tea in these glasses, but they're clean. Here, would you hold it while I pour the milk?
Oh, sure.
Thanks. It's perfectly fresh. Nancy brought it back with the sandwiches. Well, now then. Is it good?
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad you could stop by. I do hate eating alone.
Yeah, me too. That milk's nice and cold. You have any unusual visitors here today?
Why?
Oh, I just wondered. A couple of funny things happened today. I didn't go home on account of...
Well, what's the matter, Mr. Johnson?
I thought you were hungry.
Why, I am.
You're not eating.
Oh, I will. It's just that... Well, it isn't often that I get to eat with a gentleman. I enjoy watching you.
You lead a pretty dull life here, don't you?
Oh, I suppose, by some standards.
Seems to me you really don't have much to live for.
Well, I wouldn't go so far as to say that.
Oh.
Mr. Johnson, are you all right?
Yeah. Just a little cramp.
Well, you're probably eating too fast. You see, a person goes a while without eating, and then they gulp their food down. It isn't good for you.
It isn't from...
Oh, you poor man. Here, take another swallow of milk.
I can't.
Mr. Johnson, what is it?
I don't know.
Don't you? Well, I do.
What?
I lied to you. The milk is fresh, but it didn't come from the delicatessen.
What are you talking
It
about?
came from my apartment. It was the milk that was delivered this morning.
No. No, you're lying.
Am I?
Help me. Please. Call an ambulance. Please call an ambulance.
No.
Please.
You made a fool of me, Mr. Owens. You looked at me like you thought I was beautiful. And I believed it. That was only one of the things you did.
Please.
This morning, did you help my cat? Would you have helped me? The police hadn't compared the rose I gave one of their men with those found in that girl's apartment.
Please help me.
Mr. Owens? Mr. Owens? Lieutenant Carver? Lieutenant, this is Miss Craig at the flower shop.
Suspense, in which Paula Winslow starred in tonight's presentation of The 12th Rose. Next week, the story of a hired killer who had a deadline to meet. We call it A Matter of Timing. That's next week on Suspense. Suspense is produced and directed in Hollywood by Anthony Ellis. Tonight's story was written by Charles B. Smith. The music was composed by Lucien Morawek and conducted by Lee Stevens. Featured in the cast were Stacey Harris, Virginia Gregg, Don Diamond, Eleanor Cannon, Herbert Ellis, Miriam Wolfe, Jack Carroll, and Fred Mackay. A safari to the remotest corner of the earth could not provide more thrills than do the dramatic excursions into big city life the 21st Precinct takes you on each Thursday night over most of these same stations. 21st Precinct has a realistic, downright fascinating story to tell. And this Thursday night is no exception. Stay tuned for 5 minutes of CBS News, to be followed on most of these same stations by My Son Jeep. America listens most to the CBS Radio Network.
And now, tonight's presentation of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense. Tonight, we bring you a story of a hired killer who had a deadline to meet. So now, starring Mr. William Conrad and Mr. Stacey Harris, here is tonight's suspense play, A Matter of Timing.
You're waiting for somebody, mister?
Maybe.
I'm supposed to meet somebody here. You the guy?
Just a minute. You have the other half of this dollar?
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Where to?
Well, the town where you're supposed to work.
How far?
About 60 miles. I figured it was better to meet you here rather than in town. It's safer.
Uh-huh. How'd I get back here after the job's done?
Oh, I'll drive you.
Oh, fine.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you.
Well, I suppose you know what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. Kill somebody. Who?
My partner.
How'd you find somebody like me?
Oh, it isn't hard. A friend asked a friend, who asked a friend. Well, you know.
Yeah, I know. What's the matter with you, partner?
Huh?
I mean, why do you want him killed?
Personal reasons.
You want his wife?
No.
Oh, you've been dipping into the till and you got your fingers caught.
What's so important about the reason?
That's not. Only I get curious why people want to have other people killed.
Does there have to be a reason?
Oh, not as far as I'm concerned. I get paid to do a job. That's also a living. That's my reason. Yours ought to be at least that good.
Well, it is, for me.
Good enough. Let's get on to business. I got an 18-hour alibi. That means I got to be out of here by tonight.
Well, you should be out by 9 o'clock this morning.
All planned,
Just about.
Good, yeah. I don't like complications.
Well, there won't be.
When do I get the rest of my money?
Just as soon as the job is done.
I want it before.
Don't you trust me?
I'm sorry. In my business, it has to be cash in advance. Nothing personal. It's just that I can't sue you if you're a Nick.
Well, you could come gunning for me.
Well, I could, but I wouldn't. I only do my work for money, not pleasure. In advance?
Yes, in advance. Well, this is where you will do the job from.
You own this store?
No, it's leased.
Your name on the lease?
No, it's leased by a client of ours. I had a key made a few weeks ago.
Yeah, you got a key to the front door, too?
No, we don't need it. Come here. Can you shoot through the corner of that broken window?
If it's not too far away, yeah.
Well, he'll come out of that apartment house. Right there, across the street.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can do that. But, I still don't like you pointing them out. I wish you'd have gotten a picture.
Well, I couldn't get one without a good reason, and I couldn't think of a reason.
Yeah, but a little picture.
Do you have a picture of your best friend?
Well, no, but I know how to get one.
Well, that's because of your business. I don't know how to do these things.
You know how to get me.
No, I didn't. No, sir. It cost me plenty just to get a friend of a friend of a friend, like I said before.
Okay. All right, well, let's get this thing figured out and get it over with, huh?
All right, he'll come out of the doorway across the street at almost exactly 8 o'clock. I know because I've been checking it carefully for a very long time.
And then you point him out, huh?
That's right. Now, you do what you have to. We go out the back way like we came in, and I drive you to Helmsley where you catch a train back.
Well, look, not that it means anything to me, but are you covered? As far as the police are concerned, I mean.
If you mean motive, yes, I haven't any. Mark's half of the business goes to his wife, and so does his insurance. There's nothing in it for me.
Well, then why do the job?
Because he thinks he's smarter than me.
You mean you'd have a man killed because he thinks that he's smarter than you are?
Well, that's not the only reason.
Well, what are the others?
Well, just because.
You're nuts.
Don't say that. I figure I can get the rest of the business away from Mark's wife after he's gone. That's another reason.
Oh, then you're getting rid of the one you can't outsmart, is that it?
Well, if you want a basic reason, yes.
Did you whitewash the storefront windows?
No, they've been that way ever since it was leased.
I suppose somebody comes to look it over.
Well, that's impossible. My client is away for the season.
Okay. That's enough talk for now. I better get ready. It's 5 to 8.
I thought you people always used automatics.
That's only a movie. Revolvers are more accurate.
Well, I only thought that...
Just be quiet, please, huh? Next time you talk to me, I want you to point the man out. Okay?
Well, it's about time to go.
Yes, it's almost 8.
Francis?
Yes?
Do you feel all right?
Why, Mark?
Well, you look feverish.
I feel kind of feverish.
Here, let me see. Hey, you do have a fever. I'd better call Dr. Borden.
Oh, no. I don't think you have to. Besides,
What, dear?
I think maybe you had better call him. You just call and go to the office, and you'll be late.
I don't care if I am. I don't have a thing to do this morning that's of any consequence.
It's just the idea of being late.
It doesn't matter. Being late today isn't going to make any difference one way or the other.
It's 8:45.
I know it. Maybe he left before 8. I just don't understand it.
Look, I'm not going to sit here all day. You better do something.
Do what?
That's your problem.
All right, I'll call the office. Maybe he's there now.
I wouldn't do that if I were you.
Oh, well, why not?
Never call. Go in person, huh? Showing up at your office doesn't look suspicious. Phone call does.
What about you?
Well, I'll wait in your house or your apartment, whatever you got.
You what?
Well, why not? I don't want to be seen around town any more than I have to. Now, do you have a back door to your place?
Yes.
All right, let's go there then. I'll wait till you contact
Well,
me.
how do you know I want you in my
Look,
place?
I got a service to render. As long as you think I can do it, you're going to take care of me. Now, let's get with it, huh? You take me to your place and then go to the office. You contact me there. Now, just remember, I want to be out of town by the night.
You will. Don't worry.
I don't worry, mister. Either things happen or they don't happen. That's the way I live.
Good morning, Mr. Longman.
Oh, good morning, Miss Bunner. Miss Bunner, Miss Callender in?
No, sir. He should be here any minute, though.
Oh, when did he leave?
He didn't. He just hasn't come in this morning.
Not at all?
No, he called and said his wife was ill, and he'd come in after the doctor had been over.
Oh, that's all right.
Good morning. Sorry I'm late.
It's all right, Mark. How's Francis?
Should be okay. Just a touch of the virus.
Oh, that's good.
Come on into my office, Carl. I want to talk to you.
No, what's up?
Just something I want to talk over.
All right.
I didn't want to say anything in the outer office, but I think we've got the Parker property.
Oh, how do you know?
Well, the phone rang just as I was leaving the house. It was old Josh Parker calling from Crestview. He's ready to settle at our price.
Well, when do we see him?
Not we. Me. I made an appointment for 7 this evening. I'm so careful I didn't even tell Francis where I was going. If the Carter outfit ever found out, they'd offer Parker another $5,000 and we'd lose the deal.
Now, what made him decide to sell now?
I didn't even ask. All I'm interested in is buying.
Then you'll be there at 7?
Yes. Now, let's get busy and drop the papers. This mustn't leak out, Carl. I'd rather you not say anything to anybody.
Now, what makes you think that... Don't worry, Mark. This means as much to me as it does to you. It's a pretty quiet neighborhood, no street lighting, and 2 or 3 minutes from the highway to Helmsley where you catch the train.
You sure of the time?
Yes, this time I'm sure. I saw him leave before I came and got you. He should be there by now. I figure it'll take about a half hour to 45 minutes to close the deal. Then you get him as he comes out the door. And don't miss.
I won't. You know, you're a pretty cruel guy.
Me? Cruel?
Yeah.
Well, what about you? You're doing it.
Yeah, but I don't know it. I never killed anybody I know in all my life.
A man's a man.
No, he's not. Some are strangers. I can't feel anything for a stranger. I haven't got time for thinking about his life. But guys like you hire guys like me to kill somebody they know. I don't get it.
You don't have to. Just do the job, that's all.
What's the matter? Am I getting
Let's not talk about it, huh?
Okay, with me. How much longer we gotta go?
We'll be there in 15 minutes.
Don't pull right up in front of the house, huh? Especially if his car's parked in front angle off a little.
I will. This time we're going to get him.
Oh, I hope so. I want to get back home. I got a heavy day tonight.
Joshua Parker.
Well, I guess that's it.
Yes, sir, and here is your check, sir. The balance of the money will be deposited to your account.
That's good. I suppose you're wondering why I decided to accept your deal, hmm?
Well, I must confess I was rather curious.
Well, I'll make it brief. Our daughter Molly, you remember, well, she had a baby boy last week. She called us and asked us to come on out to the coast and see our grandson. Well, we figured we might as well go for a nice long stay and maybe even retire. So we decided to sell.
Oh, well, when do you expect to leave?
Tonight. Catching the 9:25 out of Helmsley. Had the storage men in today. They'll pick up the furniture and all tomorrow.
Well, how are you getting to Helmsley?
Taxi, I guess.
Oh, I'll be glad to drive you.
Oh, no. That'd be too much trouble.
No trouble at all. It'll be a pleasure.
And by golly, we accept. I'll get Mrs. Parker to rush it some, and we'll be on our way.
What's taking him so long?
Relax. We only been waiting 10 minutes.
He's got to come out soon.
He'll be out if he went in. He'll come out.
Oh, he went in all right. That's his car right out front.
And everything's okay.
Is there enough light?
Yes, there's enough light.
Here he comes.
The tall guy?
Yes, that's him.
Who's that with him?
That's Parker and his wife.
And they're going to the car with him.
Well, that doesn't matter. Shoot.
I can't. He's covered. Those
What?
people are on this side of him.
Come on, shoot.
I can't, I tell you. I can't. I'll hit them, too.
I don't care.
What'll I do?
Shoot now.
No good.
Shoot.
Too late, buddy. The boat sailed.
Well, what do we do now?
I don't know about you, but I'm getting out of here.
No.
Look, this job's jinxed. I'm not pushing my luck any further.
You can't go. I need you.
Get somebody else. Here, I'll give you half your dough back.
I don't want the money. I want you to kill him for me.
No.
But you must. You see, he's got to die.
Why don't you kill him?
Because I can't, that's why.
Sorry, mister, I'm leaving.
No, we'll make it next time.
You can't guarantee that.
I'll pay you double.
In advance?
Yes, in advance.
Okay, I'll stay. Yeah, let's be getting back to your place, huh? I'd like to get a little sleep.
You are listening to A Matter of Timing, tonight's presentation on radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
Sometimes charity begins at home. There are times, however, when charity comes to an abrupt end there. That's what happens, at any rate, in the next tense adventure of the FBI in Peace and War, when a husband plots to victimize his wealthy and philanthropic-minded wife. Fortunately for the woman, the FBI takes an uncharitable view of racketeering, and before the unscrupulous husband has much of a chance to enjoy ill-gotten gains, he finds a new home behind bars. For fast-moving and fascinating drama, be sure to hear this next exciting episode of the FBI in Peace and War tomorrow night over most of these same stations.
And now we bring back to our Hollywood soundstage Mr. Stacey Harris and Mr. William Conrad, starring in tonight's production, A Matter of Timing, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Thank you, dear.
I wish we hadn't stayed out this late. It's after midnight, and you had the doctor over this morning. I don't think this party was such a good idea.
Oh, I'm sorry, dear, but it's been so long since we've been to a party like that. I just couldn't seem to break away.
Oh, it's all right, honey. I enjoyed it, too.
You never did tell me where you went earlier this evening.
Didn't I?
No. I suppose if I hadn't asked, you never would have told me.
All right, I'll make it short and sweet. I bought the Parker place.
Oh, Mark, how nice. And that's what you and Carl did this evening.
Carl wasn't there.
Why not?
Well, Fran, he is always overselling. If he'd kept quiet last month, I think we could have gotten it then and cheaper.
What did he think about you going alone?
He was perfectly content. We drew up the papers, and I went alone. He didn't seem to mind.
Mark,
Yes?
do you think Carl feels all right about you doing all the real selling in the business?
Why should he mind as long as he gets his share?
The Parker place is nice.
Oh, yes, very.
Mark, why don't we move into it?
Move? Why?
I'm tired of living in the city on the 3rd floor. Nothing to look at out of my front window. Nothing really to do all day while you're at work.
The way you say it makes it sound like you live in the slums or something.
Oh, no. I know this is nice, maid service, all the things a lazy woman could want. But somehow I wish we had a lot of things we haven't got.
Like what?
Oh, a garden, trees, fresh air, even a garage for your car.
You know how hard it is to get garage space, even at a price.
That's what I mean. Move over.
Sorry.
Even with all the money you're willing to spend, we haven't got a lot of the things I think we should have.
All right, I'll tell you what. Tomorrow we'll take a drive out to the Parker place. If you like it, we'll move into it.
Do you mean it?
Of course I do.
I just thought of something.
What?
Is there a chance Carl might think you went to the Parkers alone so you could arrange for us to have the place ourselves?
No, of course not. Going alone is normal procedure lately. He just doesn't handle any of the big deals anymore.
If he so little helped you, why do you continue with the partnership?
I don't know. Loyalty, maybe. He's still my friend. Well, I don't know. I guess I can't do that to a friend.
I hope he realizes that.
I hope he doesn't. Carl's a pretty intense guy, and he might go off the deep end if he thought I was carrying him. Come on, let's get to bed. I don't want to be late for work tomorrow. I've got a lot of things to do.
Including the trip to the Parker place.
You realize this means paying Carl for his half of the property.
Do you think he'll mind losing our possible profit?
No, I don't think so. Carl owes me a lot for some of the things I've done for him, and I don't think he'll mind paying me back.
Hey, how about this one? I don't know. Looks kind of beat. What do you mean, beat? It's a 55. Just dirty, that's all. Maybe we ought to try to get a sharper one. We don't have much time left. We promised the guys we'd meet them at 5 o'clock this morning, and we got 2 hours driving to do. See if it's unlocked. Yeah. Okay, we'll use it. Get in. Check. Hurry up. What do you mean, hurry up? I gotta find the ignition wires. Take it easy. Oh, here they are. Come on. Just a minute. There. Let's get going. Just a second. Turn the dash light off. Gotta see if we have gas in this jalopy. I guess there's enough. Okay, get moving.
Why 7 o'clock in the morning? You told me before he doesn't leave the house till 8.
I want to make sure we don't miss him this time.
If he comes out of the house, I won't miss him.
What about last night?
You saw he was covered by those other people.
Well, supposing he comes up with his wife this time.
She can't cover him from here. He's got to go down them steps. Besides, if it does come out with him, they'll be side by side.
When are you going to shoot?
When he gets to the bottom of the steps.
Why not when he comes out of the door?
He's closer at the bottom, no more than 40 feet. No sense taking unnecessary chances.
You want a cigarette?
No, and neither do you.
Oh, and why not?
What are you going to do with a butt? And supposing somebody sees us smoke?
Well, the windows are whitewashed. Nobody can see in.
You're looking all around here after the job's done.
Okay, can I stand up?
Why don't you leave? I know what he looks like now. I can drive to the station by myself.
No, I want to stay and see you do it.
You really hate this guy, don't you?
Yes.
Hey, why don't you just break off a partnership and then you
Are
wouldn't
you
have...
trying to back out now that you've got my money?
I could if I wanted to. And one more crack like that and I will.
I'm sorry, I meant that...
You know, I'm getting sick of guys like you. Now, you forget it and you'll relax, huh? I'll kill you, buddy, for you.
More coffee, Mark?
Yes, I think I will. Thank you.
What time are you going to call me?
About 2 this afternoon.
Do you want me to be ready then?
No, I'm pretty sure we can't get started for the Parker place till 3, but I'll call you at 2 in case I can make it a few minutes earlier.
Fine. Oh, you'd better get going, honey. It's almost 8.
I better check the weather and see if I need a top coat. Beautiful day. Say, I parked in front of the house last night, didn't I?
Yes, why?
Well, my car's gone.
Let me see.
Right down there. Didn't I park there last night?
Yes, it is gone.
Of all the luck. Never can remember what number to use for the police. Operator, get me the police. Thank you. Friend, do you think the insurance company will give me a car while the police are looking for mine?
Oh, I don't know.
I'd better check the policy. It's funny how you... Hello? This is Mark Collender. I want to report a stolen car. Yes, last night. No, I have the keys. License number... wait a minute. Do you remember the license number?
No, I don't.
I have all the information at my office, the motor number and everything, you know. Yes, sir. Well, I'll meet you downstairs. 483 Denham Drive. In about 5 minutes. Fine. Thank you. Well, that does it. They'll be here in 5 minutes. Let's have another cup of coffee.
It's after 8.
You sure? I know he didn't leave before 7.
How do you know?
Well, he just never does.
Well, he better not. I'm catching a 9:45. Win, lose, or draw. I don't like the smell of this job no more.
It's just a few...
There he is. There he is. Shoot, shoot. When he gets to the bottom of the stairs, now shut up.
Shoot him. Don't miss. Shoot now, please.
When he comes down.
Oh. What's he standing there for? Come on.
Bark. Cops. What kind of a deal is this?
I don't know anything about that. Just shoot. Go on.
You and you crazy with the cops coming right to the door? I'm getting on it.
Oh, well, you've got to shoot him first.
Not me, buddy.
All right, then I'll do it.
Get your hands off my gun.
No, give me that gun. Give me that gun.
No, will you? You stupid.
Thought the man was a known killer. If we could only find out what Carl was doing there with a gunman. I've asked him about it time and time again, but he won't talk to me. I can't defend him if he won't talk to me.
I know.
Mark, why don't you try? You're his friend. Maybe he'll talk to you.
I have tried. I know he won't.
You know why he won't say anything?
Yes, I think I do.
Then tell me. Maybe it would help.
No. It wouldn't do any good. It wouldn't do any good at all.
Suspense, in which Mr. William Conrad and Mr. Stacy Harris starred in tonight's presentation of A Matter of Timing. Next week, we bring you a story of a convict ship and a bargain that ended in death. We call it a sleeping draft. That's next week on Suspense. Suspense is produced and directed in Hollywood by Anthony Ellis. Tonight's story was written by Ross Murray. The music was composed by Rene Gargan and conducted by Wilbur Hatch. Featured in the cast were Parley Bear, Virginia Gregg, Victor Rodman, Elisa Milo, Sam Edwards, Ralph Reed, and Robert Miller.
Nobody approves of slums. Nobody likes to live in one. Yet here in America, about 1 out of 9 non-farm dwelling units are in slum condition. And slum conditions don't stay still in a neglected house or area. They spread from building to building, from block to block. To improve our neighborhoods, CBS Radio urges you to write to the American Council for their free leaflet that explains what everyday citizens can do to prevent and eliminate slums. Just write to Action, Box 20, New York 19. That's Box 20, New York 19. Stay tuned now for 5 minutes of CBS News, to be followed on most of these same stations by My Son Jeep. America listens most to the CBS Radio Network.
And now, tonight's presentation of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense. Tonight, we bring you a transcribed story of a convict ship and a bargain that ended in death. We call it A Sleeping Draught. So now, starring Ben Wright with Abraham Sofair, here is tonight's suspense play, A Sleeping Draught.
That helps. But it's like I say, you can't forget. You can never forget. It's at night that you think about it, with the water outside rushing past the hull. That's when you think, and it can never be the same. You can't trust anybody. Never. Not a soul. I can tell you. You just can't trust them. Not even yourself. What is it, mister?
Mr. Finch says he's ready to board, sir.
Oh, he is, eh? All right, I'm not stopping in.
Sir, he insists on bringing them aboard one at a time.
What? Does he think I'm going to miss the tide? There's over 400 of them. It'll take hours.
That's what I said, sir.
Mr. Finch, come aboard if you please.
I'm sorry, sir.
I should have resigned. Stinking, filthy, poor devil cargo.
Everything high cockalorum, Captain?
No, everything is not high cockalorum. What in blazes do you mean ordering my mate about?
Oh, no offence intended, none taken, I hope.
I want those scurvy wretches aboard now. All of them. Put them below and we'll weigh anchor.
One at a time, sir. One at a time. We got to search them, you know.
Why didn't you do that before you took them out of jail?
Oh, you'll be surprised what those swine can pick up between jail and the docks. We got to search them one at a time. Oh, they're murdering devils, every last one of them, and that's a fact.
The convicts came aboard one by one. I watched them. They were going from London to a land they'd never seen. A colony had bought them. Australia. 400. The sweepings and scrapings sorted out from the muck of the jails, with Finch in charge of them. I carried dirty cargoes. Dyewood, for instance, crawling with scorpions and spiders, not to mention snakes. Then there's cattle. But this, weeks and months at sea with a human cargo who'd as soon cut your throat as spit. What made it worse was I felt sorry for the poor beggars. I watched them come aboard until there were two left.
Name? Wilkes. Search him.
Hey, now, take your bleeding hands off me. I ain't got nothing. They just stole me last fall.
Now, shut your jaw.
That's enough, Finch. I won't have the cat used on my ship. I got enough of it where they're going.
Oh, you are a trusting soul, you are, Captain. How'd you like that between your ribs, Captain? Touch of the cat's a lot better than letting this swine bring a knife aboard, eh? Take him below. I don't know how they do it. So help me, I don't know. You've got to watch him for them, now. Next!
Right.
Oh, here's a terror. Look at the size of them, eh? Dangerous swine. 3 murders in Australia. Escaped. He's in for it when he gets back. Name?
Abbey. Jonathan Abbey.
Abbey. Well, a gentleman in chains. I am sorry, your worship. Forgive us for daring to lay hands on your highness. I'm sure as how you've been wrongly accused.
That's enough, Finch.
Search him, take him below. I want Mr. Jonathan Abbey shackled. He's a prize, he is. We mustn't let anything happen to him.
From the day we left London docks, I'd taken a violent dislike to Finch. He seemed to be happiest when he was laying about him with his cat on the convicts herded like sheep below decks. He kept them quiet enough, but one night I decided to have it out with him in the cabin. I made it strong, I can tell you, so that even he could understand what I meant.
You all finished, Captain? All right. Now you hear me out. They're a bad lot. 400 of them. All bound for Australia. They don't want to go. You follow me? Now, there's that bloke, Abbey. Soon as we touch Sydney, the game's up for him. They'll hang him, sure.
That doesn't mean that you have the right to make life even worse for him here.
No. We find out what you think we'll be. What would you do if you was down there? I'll tell you. You'd get hold of the ship, that's what you'd do, and it'd be easy.
They're locked in. We've got a guard.
You don't know them like I do. There's another thing. When I searched them, there was 1 to 5 sovereigns stowed away on every man, earned or stolen. That'll come to over £1,000 by my figures.
They're entitled to that money. It's little enough to take to a wild country.
It's truth. But there's them down there what'd slit the gullet of any man for a shilling. And you asked me to be dainty with them. Ha!
That's the way he talked to me. And I can tell you that I didn't feel easy anymore. I did something I hadn't done for a long time. I broke out 2 pistols from ship's stores and kept them under my pillow. It was when we got round the Horn that the first convict died from scurvy. We had to put him over the side, of course, and there was a lot of grousing. I went down to the hold with Finch. It was hot and stinking.
Now, you let me talk to him, Captain. I'll put it to rights.
You tell him it couldn't be helped.
Don't you mind. I'll tell him.
Oi! Here comes old Bloody Pot.
Hey, Finch! Did you steal the clothes off the poor beggar's back before you threw him in?
Men! We ain't men, dearie. We're dogs, or haven't you heard?
Why didn't you wait to bury poor old Smithy in the ground instead of chucking him in the sea?
All right.
We got another 2 or 3 weeks before we reach land, and I'll make a bargain with you. The next one what dies, now that it's getting nice and hot,
I'll just leave him down here. You can take care of him and mourn him till we get to Australia. How's that? £5 you don't keep him for 3 days.
That's all bloody pot. Always a nose for business.
And if you ain't satisfied with that, I'll see that the hatch is closed down tight for the rest of the voyage. And you can boil for all of me.
That seemed to settle it for a time. I began to see that in spite of Finch's hardness with him, the prisoners knew he was master and behaved themselves. That is, most of them did. But there were others. And that's what began the trouble. We were 2 days out of the Cook Islands when it happened.
Yes?
Captain, there's a man on deck. We brought him up from below. It's horrible.
What happened?
One of the convicts.
Oh? Fight?
Yes, sir.
Here with me, Captain. Mr. Darling ain't much of a surgeon, I must say.
Oh, I did what I could. He must have been dead before we got him up here.
What? Why, he's been cut to pieces.
Not half of it.
How did it happen?
Well, I heard him shout and I went down into the hold, and there he was, propped up like against the bars with his arms through, holding them up.
Poor devil.
Oh, him? No, he's dead, he is. There's others in for it, though.
What do you mean?
How do you think he got cut up like that, eh? Knives, Captain. Knives.
But you searched them before they boarded.
I did. In truth, I don't know how they done it. Small knives, Captain. Small knives. You're getting close to Australia, that's what it is. Whoever's got them knives is after money. The £1,000 or more what's on this cursed ship.
I don't see how...
Oh, you are a trusting soul, you are, Captain. Maybe there's a dozen of them, maybe 20 with knives. You follow me? They'll run the others and rob 'em blind. Gold sovereigns, Captain. You didn't forget, did you? If anybody objects, cut him up into small pieces, just like this one.
We've got to go down there and put a stop to it.
Yes, I don't think. How many guns you got aboard?
Well, 2 pistols and 4 muskets.
That's a fat lot of good. Oh, well, must take the sweet with the sour, like they say. We can try, no harm in that. Mark my words, Captain, before we get to Sydney, all of us will probably have our throats cut. Come on.
Finch and I, with 2 seamen, armed ourselves and went down into the hold and stood outside the bars. The men inside were quiet, very quiet. They just looked at us, dark like.
You man!
I'll talk to him. Now listen to me. We know some of you are carrying knives. I want you to throw them out here. Nothing further will be said about it if you do as I say. Well?
Captain, my porridge wasn't hot enough this morning. And please, sir, can I have sugar in it tomorrow?
That ain't the way to talk to this scum. The captain's a gentleman. I'm not. You know me, don't you?
We know you all right.
All right. You Abby. You listen to me. I'm giving you till tomorrow morning to throw them knives out here. Till morning. If every blasted one ain't out of your dirty hands, I'm going to have you flogged. Every ruddy one of you. 50 lashes. Do you hear me, Mr. Abbey?
I'll think about it.
Till morning, and then 50 lashes. You think about that, Mr. Abbey.
Good morning, Captain dear, and Mr. Finch.
You filthy scum. Where's them knives?
Well, they'll do the most good.
All right. I've given you a chance. I've played fair now.
Mr. Finch, sir, may I have a word with you?
Ah, come to your senses, then, yeah?
Bend closer to the bars, 'cause what I got to say, I got to whisper.
Oh, what is it? What is it?
It goes like this.
Is that 100 lashes, Wilkes?
I'll take you first and handle the cat myself.
Oh, no, sir. Why not take him first? He won't feel it like I will.
The crowd of men parted suddenly, and from out of them was pushed what had once been a man. It fell against the bars, and then, no longer with the support of living arms, slid to the deck. We looked at him, Finch and me. His life had been worth a sovereign, maybe two. He hadn't either now. And the knives were still in the hold with them that had killed him.
You are listening to A Sleeping Draught, tonight's presentation on radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
With omniscience as rare a faculty as it is, most listeners like to be sure that their sources of information are reliably accurate. And that, in a nutshell, explains why so many listeners make it a point to learn what is happening in the world from members of the CBS News staff. Keep tuned to CBS Radio throughout the day and evening, and you'll keep in the know on local, domestic, and international affairs.
And now we bring back to our Hollywood soundstage Mr. Ben Wright and Mr. Abraham Sofair, starring in tonight's production, A Sleeping Draught, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Sees it. We got to have a council of war, in a manner of speaking, Captain.
I'll tell you one thing, Mr. Finch. There'll be no more flogging.
Oh, I can see you are a sharper, you are. Well, that's right. That's right. It's too dangerous. We ain't armed for it, and they're in a nasty mood. We got to be artful, same as they.
I wish we could spill the old lot of them overboard.
Want to lose your contract for carrying? Not bloody likely. Listen here. I'll get them knives. How? It's Abby. Abby's behind this. He tells them what's what. You get him out, and the others will come round. You mark my words.
Are you going into the hold to get him?
Oh, not yet. Not yet. Wouldn't be safe now. Not for nobody to go in there. But in 4 or 5 days, Captain, after we cut off their water and food, seal the hatch, you see what happens.
They die.
Well, they'll die from the knives, then. Which do you want? They'll be begging you to take the ruddy knives in 3 days.
And if they don't?
We tell them to hand over Abby to us, but he's the one to blame for their misfortune. That'll do it.
All right. If that's the only way, I'll give the order.
Yeah, but not just yet, Captain. Not just yet. We'll let them sit down there and wonder, huh? Wonder what we're going to do about it. Some of them may get nervous. We'll let them wonder a bit.
I didn't see Finch the rest of the day. The barometer had fallen suddenly, and with it came a storm. I can tell you I had my hands full for the next 24 hours. There was no time to worry about what was going on in the hold of the ship, but I didn't think they'd have much stomach for knifing each other and killing. Next morning at breakfast, Finch didn't turn up. He didn't turn up at all. We searched the whole ship. And then I went down into the hold, and that's where he was. And he hadn't died quickly. Someone had held him against the bars, and the others had... He hadn't died quickly.
Present for you, Captain.
Who did this?
Who did it?
I wouldn't waste sleep mourning him, Captain. He was a bully. No better than us, except that he was outside.
Abby, I thought you were shackled.
I was, but Mr. Finch kindly supplied the key to unfasten me.
Oh, you're going to pay for this. All of you! Where are those knives?
In here, Captain. Want to come in and get them?
You pay for this!
You're repeating yourself, Captain. Good morning.
The blasted convict had dismissed me, like I was a clerk in an office. And there wasn't anything I could do about it. With Finch out of the way, they knew I was an easy mark. It was the nights that got on my nerves. I could hear things happening, lots of things, and it was awful. Those devils with the knives, and then each morning we'd have to pull out 6 or a dozen, all cut about and bleeding. Most of them died. And those with the knives were getting money. Money they stole from the victims. I began to be afraid of my crewmen, that one would take a bribe, let that murdering crowd out. I walked around with 2 pistols in my jacket all the time. And then late one afternoon, something very bad happened. I was standing by the wheel.
Captain! Captain!
Here, Buster.
He got out, sir.
Got out who?
Who? The big one, Abby. 2 of us were standing guard. We heard a scream. It was Abby. Said he'd been stabbed. Benson opened the grill to get him, and Abby bashed him on the head and bolted.
What about the others?
I got the grill closed in time. They're safe enough. He must be somewhere on the ship, sir. Unless he went overboard.
Not that one. He's up to mischief. Take one of my pistols, mister.
Aye, sir.
Pass out the muskets. I want every inch of this ship searched. If he puts up a fight, shoot him. You hear me? Shoot him! The night comes quickly in southern parts. Did you ever try to search a ship at night with lanterns? It's not easy. Too many shadows. Too many sounds. Which could be rats or a murderer who's bigger than what you are and could choke your life out in half a minute. We couldn't find him, but he was somewhere aboard, waiting his time. And because we were short-handed, what with the crew searching, I stood a watch and I thought about Abby. The man whom Finch said had committed 3 murders in Australia.
Don't turn around, Captain. It's only a little knife, but don't move.
What do you want?
Talk.
I've nothing to say to the likes of you.
That may be. But I've an offer to make you. You know what I'm in for when we reach Sydney.
Finch told me. I've no pity for you.
I'm not asking for pity. I've an offer to make. Huh? The men below are planning to take the ship. I don't think they've got a chance, but they'll be killing. Those that have got the knives have got the money, too. It's £1,200.
I'm aware of that, mister.
I can get the knives for you. All I want is a chance to get away before the ship docks.
How do I know it isn't a trick?
Turn around, Captain. Here, my knife. Will that convince you? You must have a pistol. You can shoot me if you want.
What makes you think that you can get the knives away from me?
I can. That's all you need to know.
I couldn't help you openly, you know that. You were put aboard as a murderer. You're in my charge, and it's my job to turn you over to the police as soon as we arrive.
Then?
If you could get the knives, though, I might be able to give you a chance to clear out.
That's all I want. A chance.
All right.
I must have a pistol.
What?
A pistol.
You take me for a fool?
No, it's the only way to get the knives.
Yes, I'll give you this pistol and you shoot me down. Not likely.
If I'd wanted to do that, Captain, I'd have cut your throat 2 minutes ago.
Yes. But you're a murderer.
I know.
No, you can't have it.
It's either them or your ship, and probably your life. Well?
You talk like a gentleman, but suppose you want my pistol so that you can free them.
You just have to trust me, as I trust you, to give me a chance to get away.
Take it. Yeah.
What about the guards below? They'll shoot.
I'll take you down. I'll say I caught you.
How do I get out again when I've got the knives?
Send word that you want to see me.
All right. Captain, I'm trusting you now. I want that chance to get away.
We'll talk about that if you get the knives. I'll take you below now and come back tomorrow.
Keep your voice low.
They think I'm tricking you into making a bargain. They think I stole the pistol. I told them I had to have the knives to make you believe that we wouldn't make trouble. I said we'd take over the ship tonight.
What do you want me to do?
Leave me the key to the grill. I'll slip out tonight and bring you the knives.
They'll want you to let them out, too.
I won't. I'll lock it.
How do I know you will?
You don't. You'll have to trust me, won't you?
Yes. Do they know about this plan?
All except for the fact that I'm going to lock them in once I'm out.
Now, give me the knives now.
No, they'd know something was wrong. I'd never get out alive. Give me the key.
All right. Here.
Tonight.
I waited. And I can tell you I didn't like it. The wind came up a bit, and I knew that before sunrise we'd be in Sydney. That is, if I could trust a murderer. At 10 o'clock that night, there was a tap on my cabin door.
One of your crew nearly caught me coming down here. I've kept my side of the bargain. Oh, you needn't worry. The knives are all there. Here's your pistol.
No. You may need it.
Oh, thanks. Now, how do I get away?
We'll be in port in about 6 hours if the wind holds. You stay aft in the longboat.
Mm-hmm.
When you hear the anchor go, drop over the side and swim for it.
Very well.
I'll try to anchor as close to land as possible before I take her in.
If I can land without being seen, I've got some friends who'll hide me.
Yes, well, I don't want to know about it. Just remember, when the anchor's let go, that's your signal.
Thank you, Captain. I trust you. I'd like to shake hands with you.
I took the hand of the murderer, and we shook hands like old friends. And then he was gone. Two hours later, the wind went down, and in its place came fog, thick, mucky fog. I had my hands full, what with danger from other ships and the blasted current that knocks you about off the harbour entrance. By 3 o'clock, the fog had shut in properly. The blessed tide ran us all over the place. It's proper dangerous, I can tell you. We were about 15 miles offshore. I didn't like the look of things. There's shoals thereabout, and I sent the mate forward to heave the lead. I got a proper start when I heard him sing out, "By the deep, for..." We got off course right enough, and at this rate, we'd shear the bottom clean off of her. I saw it was high time to bring the ship up and wait until we could see something.
Let go the anchor! Let go the anchor! Give her 35 fathoms to the water's edge, bosun!
Uncle Susan, she was shoaling past.
Yes, blasted current must be making 5 knots out to sea. Listen to her.
She's holding, sir!
The anchor! The anchor!
Abby!
I ran to the longboat. It was empty. He'd heard the signal as the anchor paid out. Couldn't see in the fog and had gone overboard into a 5-knot tide running straight out to sea, 15 miles from shore. He trusted me. That's why I tell you, you shouldn't trust anybody. Sometimes it's hard sleeping at night. When you hear the water outside, you think. That's when it's hard to sleep.
Suspense, in which Mr. Ben Wright starred with Mr. Abraham Sofair in tonight's presentation of A Sleeping Draught. Be sure to listen again next week when we bring you another presentation of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
Suspense is transcribed in Hollywood by Anthony Ellis. Tonight's story was written by Weston Martyr and adapted for radio by Mr. Ellis. The music was composed by Rene Garrigank and conducted by Wilbur Hatch. Featured in the cast were Abraham Sofair, Eric Snowden, Hans Conried, Charlie Lung, Stan Jones, and Raymond Lawrence.
Got money to burn? Well, neither has Uncle Sam. The nation cannot afford to let precious timber go up in smoke. As an American, you cannot afford to let a carelessly tossed cigarette start a forest fire that may cost millions of dollars and may even cost human life. Help keep our forest lands green and growing. Stay tuned now for 5 minutes of CBS News, to be followed on most of these same stations by My Son Jeep.
And now, tonight's presentation of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense. Tonight, we bring you a transcribed story about buried treasure and a curse. We call it The Treasure Chest of Don Jose. So now, starring Mr. Edgar Barrier, here is tonight's suspense play, The Treasure Chest of Don Jose.
This is not a pretty story. There is blood in it, the blood of men and women. There is a curse in it and gold. But it is a funny story. It is a joke. A great joke that I cannot laugh at. It is a joke on me. In matters of this sort, secrecy is of the utmost importance. In matters of this sort, no man is your friend. Once I had a friend. We lived together in my little house on Black Cay down in the Gulf of Mexico. But then the hurricane struck, and everything was different. The wind blew for 2 nights and a day, and when the waves piled up on the quay and swept away the house, it was my friend, Pedro, who dragged me away unconscious and lashed me to a ringboat on our little dock and saved my life. Next day, the sun was shining again, but there was nothing left on my little island. The splintered planks that once had been the house of my father were scattered among the split palm trees. And even the big chimney that was built by my great-grandfather was a pile of broken bricks. There was nothing but blue sea and bright sun and heaviness in my heart.
Yes, even the chimney.
Hey, what would you expect from such a wind?
Aye, my friend. So now, alas, the curse of the Gasparias has fallen on you, huh?
Curse. You speak foolishness. It was a hurricane.
Hey, see, so it was, but a hurricane sent especially to destroy you.
Hey, you cannot believe that silly tale.
Did not your father perish from a bolt of lightning that struck him from a cloudless sky?
The doctor said it was a heart attack.
See, and your grandfather, was he not pulled into the sea by a giant octopus?
He was washed overboard during a squall.
And all because of his father, Don Jose, the king of the pirates, and the curse put upon him and all the Gasparias by the beautiful Doña Margarita, who preferred death to...
You prattle like a schoolboy. You who have never been one day to school. Now come, we'll clear up this mess and build the house over again. You should know that I endured a certain local notoriety since I bore the same name and was the great-great-grandson of Don Jose Gasparilla, one of the last and one of the fiercest of the pirates of the Spanish Main. This was of much less interest and concern to me than it was to my friends and acquaintances among the Florida Keys. Neither my father nor his father before him had ever profited by a single doubloon from the legendary treasure of our pirate forebear. And as to the curse pronounced on Don Jose by the proud and virtuous Doña Margarita, I gave it as little credence as I did the recurrent tales of Gasparilla's buried treasure. But that was before Pedro and I set about cleaning up the hurricane's mess. We were stacking brick from the demolished chimney when Pedro made a discovery.
Hola, Jose. Look at this, huh?
What is it?
Seems to be a box, a little iron box, the size and shape of a brick.
Here, let me see it.
There was a lock, but it's rusted away.
Well, hand me that pinch bar.
See? Here. Hey, it's a paper inside, huh?
Yes, it is very old.
Oh. What does it say, Jose?
Huh? Oh, nothing. It is just an old paper.
See, I know, but what does it say?
It is a nursery rhyme my father copied for me when I was a little boy.
Yeah, but what is it doing in this old iron box, huh?
Yeah, I must have hidden it away once when I was playing. Here, amigo. Shall we get back to work? It was a lucky thing Pedro could not read. That was no nursery rhyme. That rotting parchment said, "On Dogbody's island you could fare worse, if there you will Don Jose's curse. For there, 33 yards southeast of the Rocky Guards, you will find a pleasantly fulsome measure of Gasparilla's earthly treasure." There could be no question about it. Here was at last a tangible clue to the hidden gold of my ancestor. It was mine if I could find it. Why should I share it with anyone, even Pedro? I was the rightful heir, and I would claim it all. So that night, I took our only boat and rowed to the mainland. I spent 2 days in the public library in Key West, searching the old charts before I found Dogbody Island. It was a tiny sand spit near the tip of Cape Cod. It was perfect, my little rented cottage on the beach. Quiet, secluded, and yet within view of that rocky point which must be the same one Don Jose called the Rocky Guards. There was a stack of firewood beside the kitchen door, and in a shed back of the house, there was even a long-handled shovel, a most fortunate circumstance, since I did not want to create any suspicion in the town by purchasing one. I can tell you, I scarcely slept that first night. So great was my eagerness to be up in the morning, to pace the 33 yards southeast of the Rocky Guards and begin digging for my treasure. 29, 30, 31, 32.
Morning.
Oh, good morning.
Looks like it's going to be a nice day.
Yes, it does.
Gonna do some digging?
Hey, beg your pardon?
I see you got a shovel. Looks like you're gonna do some digging.
Oh, yes. Clams. I am going to dig for clams.
No clams in the surf.
Oh, there aren't?
No. Find them on the bay side.
Well, then I will look over there.
Don't dig them with a shovel. Gotta use a rake.
Oh, is that so?
Too late now, anyway. Tide's coming in. Another low tide at 5 this afternoon.
I didn't know. I am a stranger here.
I know. Heard you'd rented the Davis place. I'm chief of police on Queen Cassie.
Oh? Anything wrong?
No. Town limits come all the way out here, though. Thought I'd tell you. All the way to the low tide mark. Thought I'd better come out here and warn you.
Warn me? About what?
You see that patch of sand yonder, beyond the cranberry bog?
Yes.
Quicksand. Treacherous.
Oh, thank you.
Gonna stay here long?
Oh, I don't know. A few weeks. Maybe all winter.
You, a writing fella?
No.
Painting fella?
No.
Ah, just taking a vacation.
Yes, you might call it that.
Beats me. Well, nice to have this talk with you. Anything you need in the way of police protection, just let me know.
He couldn't know. How could he know? Nobody knew about the treasure clue but me. Yet he seemed so suspicious. He asked me so many questions. And I went back to the house, sat at the window until he was out of sight up the beach. But by that time, the tide had come in, and the treasure was buried by the ocean. So I waited until 5 o'clock, when the tide was low. And then, carrying a gasoline lantern, I paced off the 33 yards southeast of the Rocky Guards and set to work. It was clear now I would have to work fast, and at night, for there was no way of knowing who might drop in on my operations during the daytime. I waited until an hour after sundown, and then carrying a gasoline lantern, I returned to the hole, found my shovel in the grass, and set to work. Although the evening was chilled with a brisk breeze blowing in from the sea, I had soon shed my coat and was dripping with perspiration. I lost track of time, place, and my own identity. I was a machine, attacking the wet, sliding sand with huge bites of my shovel, widening the hole as it grew deeper, until my lantern threw long shadows across the opening that had become large enough for a coffin. Then my shovel hit something solid. I reached for my lantern, and there, under its lifeless green glare, was a section of rotting wood. I shoveled the wet sand to one side. There was a rusted iron strap. I had found it. An iron-bound chest. The treasure chest of Don Jose Gasparilla. It was almost too much to bear. Suddenly, my dampened shirt chilled me. I was seized with a fit of shivering. Then I began crying like a child. How long I crouched there in this agony of relief and joy I cannot tell. But suddenly, above the sound of my own sobs, the pounding surf, the sighing wind, I heard voices.
A little light over this way. Around here somewhere, there's a house.
Terror seized me. Who came now to violate my supreme motive? Who now threatened to deprive me of what was rightfully mine? I turned the lantern out, scrambled from the hole. And a few yards away, I could see the beam of a flashlight slowly approaching. I ran and hid behind a ledge of rocks, my heart drumming in my ears, my held breath screaming in my tightened throat, trying to listen, trying to see.
Gotta be around here. Hey, what's the matter? Nearly fell in a hole. Yeah, look, this'll do great.
See even a shovel to fill it up.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
What were they doing? Did they know? At last it was quiet, and I watched their light as they made their way across the island toward the bay. Then after a time I heard the cough of their motorboat. Still I waited until the sound of the receding motor was lost in the sighing wind and the hiss of the nearby surf. Then I lit my lantern and went back to my digging. The hole was half filled. And suddenly my terror turned to rage. What had they done? I began digging savagely. Almost at once my shovel hit something. Something that was softer than the chest and yielded to the pressure. I seized my lantern, crouched over for a closer examination, and found myself looking into the vacantly staring eyes of a corpse. Sometime toward dawn, I must have fallen asleep. For the next thing I knew, it was past noon, and somebody was pounding on my door.
Hey! Anybody home?
Just a minute. I'm coming. Oh, why, it's you, Chief. Good morning.
Afternoon now.
I'm sorry I was sleeping.
Thought you was dead.
Dead?
Took long enough to waken you.
Excuse me, I had insomnia most of the night.
Insomnia, eh? Mean you was awake?
Yes.
Most of the night, you say?
Yes.
You, hear anything peculiar out here?
No. What do you mean?
Prowlers or such.
Why would anyone be prowling out here?
Didn't say there was. Asked if you heard anyone.
No, I didn't.
Got to check, this being in the town limit.
Why, is anything the matter?
Kidnapping. Murder, maybe.
Murder?
Think you heard it on the radio?
I haven't got a radio.
Should. Great consolation for a man living alone.
Well, what happened? Tell me.
Young Harvard fella, sinful rich. His father paid the ransom, $20,000. But the kidnappers didn't deliver the boy. Got a 3-state alarm out for them. Think they're on the Cape somewheres. Just checking.
What makes you think they'd come out here?
Oh, don't know. Hunch partly. Partly because somebody borrowed one of Jen Chantry's boats last night. Found a blood stain in the cockpit this morning. Didn't see him, huh?
I told you I did.
So you did. We'll catch him. Of course, if they're on the Cape, sooner or later we'll catch him. Ransom money's in small bills, all marked. He'll get hungry sooner or later and spend some. Besides, we've got a pretty good description of him. Let me know if you see or hear anything.
Yes, of course, I'd be glad to.
Just checking.
Now there was no time to lose. I had already missed one low tide. I had to get my gold and get away from this island of suspicion and death. I waited until 5 o'clock and then returned to my diggings. The low, scudding clouds packed the sand with sudden gusts of icy rain. There was little likelihood I would have unwelcome visitors on such a forbidding evening. I quickly disinterred the body from my treasure hole. Unquestionably, he was the kidnapped victim. A young man dressed in the flannel slacks and saddle shoes of a college boy. I dragged him to one side, out of sight, behind some rocks, where I couldn't see his empty death stare. Then I went back to my digging. By 7 o'clock, I had uncovered the chest and was prepared to lift it out of its grave. The curse? Oh, no curse. For here was the treasure, and it was mine.
Want me to give you a hand with that?
What?
He wants to know you need a hand with that.
Who are you? What are you doing here? How did you get here?
Low tide, we walked. Get out of the hole, Pop.
Answer me.
Help Pop out of the hole.
Come on, Pop. All right, where is it?
What?
The kid's body, it's gone. To get rid of it.
Get him out of there.
Okay, Pop. Come on.
Let me go. Please, let me go.
Where is it, Pop? What do you do with him?
Who?
Where's the kid?
He's there. Hey, put him there.
Steve?
Yeah.
It's you. What are you trying to do, Pop? Why'd you move him?
What was he trying to do?
He was here.
Was what? Look in the hole.
Yeah.
No, don't.
There's a box in. Is that why you moved him, Pop? To get to the box?
Hey.
Give me a hand with this.
Leave it alone. It is mine. Don't touch it.
Shut up. Here. See? What do you got, Pop? Treasure? Buried treasure?
Don't laugh. Maybe that's just what it is.
Let's get it out of there.
Leave it alone. Leave it alone.
I told you to shut up. All right, Steve. Let's get it out of there.
That it was my treasure. Only it wasn't mine, not while these two bandits stood over me. At gunpoint, they forced me to help them carry it toward the house. My treasure. It was mine, and nobody must take it from me now. I must find a way to rescue it. When we got inside the house, they forced open the chest and emptied one of the canvas sacks. Its contents cascading onto the table in a golden stream of doubloons.
Well, what do you know? Gold.
It is mine. It belongs to me. It is my inheritance.
Yeah, I know, Pop.
Only you're going to pay a high inheritance tax. 100%.
Hey, Steve, I nearly forgot.
What?
Him.
Who?
Him out there.
What about him?
Get him in here.
Come on, can't we just dump him back in the hole?
I got a better idea. Get him in here. Carry him in.
Carry him for what? The rain will wash away any tracks in the sand.
Carry him. I don't want to take any chances.
There we stood, the two of us. I watching my beautiful gold, my mouth parched, my heart scarcely beating. The one called Jeff standing by the door, his gun pointed at me. Then in a moment we were four. A one called Steve was back with the death-stiffened body.
Put him in the closet. Yeah. Okay, now, Pop. I'll tell you what we're going to do. My friend and me are in a little trouble, and you're going to give us a hand, aren't you, Pop?
What are you talking about? Go away. Leave me alone.
That's just what we're going to do. We're going to leave. And we're going to take that bright, shiny stuff with us.
The treasure is
we're
mine.
going to be fair. Yeah, we're going to be fair. We're going to give you $20,000 in nice, up-to-date American money. How do we know? Maybe that junk of yours ain't worth half that much.
That money is marked. I know. It's ransom money. I know.
That's the point. This dough of yours won't work in any cigarette machine, you know. We're going to have to go to a lot of trouble to cash it. What's that?
The window blew open. It's raining like crazy outside.
We better get started.
No, I won't let you.
Now, take it easy, old man. You got no complaints. You're 20 grand ahead of the game. What? Come on. Let's get out of here. Grab the end of that check.
You're forgetting something.
What?
The sack fell on the table.
Oh, yeah. Here, Pop. Here's one for you. A souvenir.
Come on, we got to get this thing across the sands before the tide comes in.
Okay. So long, Pop.
No. My treasure. My treasure.
Well, wait a minute.
And they were gone, walking slowly across the dunes with that heavy burden. I watched them, unaware of the sheets of rain driving through the open door of the cottage, unaware that the house itself was shuddering from the impact of the storm, unaware that the wind had shifted from northeast to southeast. And suddenly I became conscious of my great danger. The thin frame cottage was creaking and shaking from the relentless wind, and the sound of the storm had a familiar tone, a tone I had heard once before. Then I realized that the wind had shifted. I realized that this was no ordinary storm. This was a hurricane. Down behind the shelter of a high dune, I stumbled and fell spread-eagled on the sand. And suddenly the wind stopped. The rain stopped. There was the calm of death. It was the center of the hurricane, the eye, the moment of respite before the final fury of the storm. And I remembered the curse and wished aloud for its fulfillment. There was no sound but the booming of the furious surf. And then there seemed to be a distant human cry. And I looked toward the rocky guards. Far away in the distance, for an instant, I could see the tiny, struggling figures of my tormentors. And then a giant wave crashed down on them, and they and the stick disappeared in boiling, angry water, and the wet heavens descended again, hurled upon me by the tail of the hurricane. I awoke with a light in my eyes, a light brighter, bigger, closer from the sun, and I heard a voice.
You all right, Mr. Gaspar?
Hey, who is...
It's me, Tris Weatherby. Got out here as soon as I could. Oh, we was worried about you out here with no radio. You couldn't get the storm warnings. It come up so fast, wasn't time to get you off.
That's very kind of you.
Lucky you got out of the house.
Why?
Ain't there no more. Ocean come plumb through, carried the house right out into the bay. Made 2 islands out of Sprague's Spit.
The house is gone?
Oh, not a stick of it left. 10-foot channel where it stood. Storms play funny tricks. That kidnapping I told you about.
Yes? What about it?
Found 3 bodies out near those rocks. The kidnappers and the victim. What do you know about that?
Nothing. Nothing at all. It is a very funny story, no, but I cannot laugh. The joke is on me. You don't believe me? Look, here is the gold doubloon. All that is left of the treasure chest of Don Jose. Yet I know this to be true. There is a treasure, I saw it, held it, and that treasure still exists. Only now there is no map. But I can tell you, in the rocky surf, near the two islands called Sprague's Spit, if you will dare the curse, is the treasure chest of Don Jose.
Suspense, in which Mr. Edgar Barrier starred in tonight's presentation of The Treasure Chest of Don Jose. And now, tonight's presentation of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense. Tonight, we bring you a story of intrigue and ideological murder. So now, starring Mr. Ben Wright, here is tonight's suspense play, The Music Lovers.
Word yet, Mallinson?
No.
Where's the car?
Around the corner. Walsh is listening in.
What's the matter?
Oh, bit of the pip, you know. Schoolboy's boggy. Acting cough.
Oh, you taken anything for it?
Everything.
No, too bad.
Just got a standby from Sergeant Flint, sir.
Good. Shove over, will you? It's cold standing out here.
1A, Grey Saloon, Armstrong, Sidley. Number plate LXP 574. Proceeding west on Arrow Road. Just past Hazel Road intersection. Following. Over.
Let me have it, will you?
Here you are, sir.
To all cars, this is car 1A. Form roadblock at Scrubs Lane and Harrow Road. Flint, how far away is he? Over.
About half a mile, sir.
Right. If he turns off, let us know. Out. Right, jump on, Mallison. Next corner, Walsh.
No, I don't like to stand on the running board, Hendon.
Make you forget the pip.
I'm going to sneeze. Shoot!
Bless you.
Blast you!
Walsh.
Yes, sir?
Park behind that squad car pulling up.
Yes, sir.
Hope he smashes into the lot of us. Serve you right.
Serve him right, too. Well, now all we have to do is wait. Here he comes.
Hold on, you!
It's all right, Mallison. They've got him. Have a look in the car, will you? Right.
Let go! My arm!
Stand still. That's better. This the man you want, sir?
That's the one. Now, you wish to make a statement?
Ask mine.
Where's Jeffrey Spencer?
Don't know what you're talking about.
Hendon!
Yes?
Would you come here for a second?
What's up?
In there. Back seat. It's Spencer.
Oh? Dead?
I don't think so. But from the looks of what they've done to him, he should be.
He was dying. Slow, sad death. There was no comfort in his leaving. No face or voice of a loved one.
Only men in uniform. Strange men who wanted to be kind but couldn't. Jeffrey Spencer was a statistic. Age 37. Employed by Staines Aircraft Industries. Senior engineer. Associate designer of experimental jet aircraft HX-331. Romanticized as Staines Super Hawk. Jeffrey Spencer. Missing for 6 days. Believed kidnapped by agents seeking classified information on HX-331. A statistic flying in the back seat of a gray car. A beaten, smashed body. Eyes staring up, full of pain, full of tears.
Ambulance is on its way. Is he conscious?
Yes.
Has he said anything?
He can't very well.
Oh.
Mr. Spencer? Can you hear me? Just blink your eyes twice if you can. Good. We'll have you in the hospital very soon. Do you know who the men were who did this? Just blink your eyes once if you want to say no. Never seen them before? I see. They tried to get information from you about the new jet aircraft? Oh. Did you give it to them?
Good man.
Do you know how many there were? 5? 4? Uh-huh. Yes. Were they English or foreign? Mr. Spencer? Mr. Spencer?
Close his eyes, will you? Was he very brave or very stupid not to tell them?
I don't imagine he thought much about it at the time.
Excuse me, sir. We've identified the driver, sir. Harold Gibson. Lives across the road.
Oh, yes, I know who he is.
Must have been coming home. What the devil was he going to do with Spencer?
He doesn't say anything,
No, sir. Bad bargain, this one.
All right. Sergeant Flint here yet?
Yes, sir. He's waiting with the prisoner.
Good.
Look here, Hendon. There's a nice, quiet, empty shop over there. Why not let me take Gibson behind it? I'll find out who the others are.
Don't you think I'd like to do that myself? Come on. We'll see what we can do.
Everything all right, sir?
No, Flint, it isn't. Oh, Gibson. The man in the back seat is dead. He was beaten and tortured, and you're under arrest for murder.
I don't know nothing about that. I didn't even know anybody was back there.
Really? Well, before we take you down to the yard, we're going to find out one or two things from you.
Take my bitter oath you don't.
Huh? Inspector Mallinson, where did you say that empty shop was?
Across the road. Of course, I was there.
Right.
Hey, what's going on here?
Sergeant Flint.
Yes, sir.
Detective Ward.
Yes, sir.
This is going to be absolutely against regulations. You understand?
Yes, sir. What are you going to do?
We're all going for a nice walk across the road.
Yeah, now, what are you taking me? If I'm under arrest, I got me rights. I ain't done nothing. What are you up to? I want to... All right, but you can't do it. You don't dare put a finger on me. I know the law. I don't know nothing about that guy in the car. Still find out. Somebody must have put him in there, no? Now, what you going to do? You can't hit me, now. You're only trying to frighten me, that's it. A fat lot of good that'll do, yeah.
Flint, Walsh, hold his arm. Stand him against the wall.
Yes, sir.
You can't do this. You can't. This is England. I know about you chaps. You can't do this.
I'll report
Are you really going to do it?
You can't do that.
We'll see. Now, loosen this tie and collar button, will you?
Yes, sir.
That's better. Now, Mr. Gibson, I think we're ready.
No.
So I want you to have a picture in your mind of Jeffrey Spencer's face when you and your friends were finished with him.
I never...
We'll start with the names of the other men. There were 4 of them, right?
I don't know. I mean, there were.
What was your part in it? Just reaching for a cigarette, Mr. Gibson. You're quite nervous tonight, aren't you? Ever notice where the flame's the hottest, Mallinson?
Oh, yes. I suppose on the...
The cigarette tip's even hotter, though.
You wouldn't.
Now, Mr. Gibson, I'm going to tell you something. You took a chance, for whatever reason you had, to engage in work against a man who had done you no harm and against this country. Now, the man is dead, and the country, as you know, is in danger. As a policeman, I would be remiss in my duty were I not to at least venture an equal chance to get information from you.
It's against the law. It's against the law.
So is murder. Now, the names of the other men?
Will you let me go? Let me go!
Now, you men are all witness to the fact that the prisoner is attempting to escape. If his arm is broken in the process, it's completely within the law. So...
All right. I swear it. I don't know who they are. They paid me to hang about while they tried to get Spencer to talk, that's all. I was to drive him away when they'd finished.
That's much better. Now, who hired you for the job?
Chap at the aircraft factory.
Staines Aircraft?
Yes, I was a sweeper. Bloke asked me if I wanted to make a few quid.
You work there, too?
I don't know. I never seen him before. Come up to me as I was leaving. It was outside the gate.
Well, why should he pick you?
I'll tell you, I don't know.
All right. Where did they take Spencer?
Place in Bronsbury Road.
Number?
58.
Get that, Flint?
Yes, sir.
Who owns the house?
I told you I don't know. I never went inside. I just hung about like I was told till they wanted me.
Yeah. Can you describe the man who hired you?
I don't know. Tall bloke, got your size, thin, had a scar on the back of his left hand. He talked like a gent.
And where were you taking Spencer?
I was going to leave him by the railway goods yard. They said he was dead anyhow.
You know, Gibson, in a way I'm rather sorry you decided to talk. It would have been a great pleasure to... Oh, take him away, Walsh. Get him down to the yard.
Right, sir. Get a move on, Gibson.
I don't have no right to do that. Mr. Almighty's going to hear all about this. Wait to see. You too, you're going to hear.
Oh. We're going to be in for it all right when the commissioner gets wind of this.
No, not we. Just me. I wanted you to help. You didn't do anything.
Would you have done if he hadn't talked?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. Well, as it is, I'm going to offer my resignation.
Oh, no, sir.
Oh, don't be an ass.
3rd degree. Ever hear of it?
Well, you didn't hurt him, sir.
Questioning under duress, the same thing. Oh, well, let's see if I can get this cleaned up first. Now, what was that address, Flint?
58 Bronsbury Road.
Well, they wouldn't be fool enough to hang about after this.
I know, but we can have a look. We had already known a number of things about Harold Gibson. Among them, the fact that he was employed by Staines Aircraft Works. The fact that he was a member of a subversive group which, up to that time, had engaged in nothing more physical than the passing out of pamphlets. However, Special Branch had learned, after the kidnapping of Jeffrey Spencer, that this group was immediately involved. We'd put a close watch on Gibson, believing that he might lead us to the kidnappers. What we didn't know when we arranged for his arrest was that he had picked up the body of Spencer from the address on Bronsbury Road. Somehow he must have given our men the slip. Inspector Mallinson, Sergeant Flint, and I drove out there. We took 2 squad cars with us, and I had an idea that we were going to find number 58 Bronsbury Road vacant. But I was wrong.
Pretty swank looking.
4 cars. Lots of lights. Quite a party going on.
Nice party. They don't fool about when they play murder.
Ah.
I've got the other men posted behind and outside the French window, sir.
All right. Ring it again, will you, Mallinson?
Oh, yes?
Scotland Yard, Chief Inspector Hendon.
Yes?
May we come in, please?
I don't understand. Was there something the matter?
A great deal, sir.
But I'm having a little music. My friends. I think you've made a mistake.
Oh, this is 58 Bronsbury Road.
Yes?
Who is it, dear?
The police, Jenny. I can't imagine.
Don't leave the door open, dear. There's a draft. Won't you come in, please?
Thank you.
Talk to them in the study, Leslie. And do hurry, dear. Oscar's promised to play Beethoven next. Excuse me.
This way, please.
Oh.
It's really very awkward, you know. I haven't the slightest idea why. Now, what's it all about?
Do you mind giving me your name, sir?
Leslie Addison.
We understand that a man named Spencer has been held in this house for the past 5 or 6 days.
What? What the devil do you mean, sir?
Exactly what I say.
Held here? By force?
Yes.
Oh, you must be mad. Oh, it's a practical joke. Not very funny.
No, it wasn't very funny for Mr. Spencer either. He was murdered. Beaten to death.
Good Lord. But why do you think that
I don't think anything yet, Mr. Addison. However, I should like permission to search your house, please.
Blast it all, this is terribly embarrassing.
I'm sorry.
What are my guests going to think?
I haven't the slightest idea, sir.
Well, I suppose it's your duty. Do you mind waiting a moment? I'll call my wife. She'll take you upstairs. And for heaven's sake, don't wake the children.
Sounds as if our friend Gibson was lying to save his skin. I think we made a bloomer, old boy.
Do you? I don't.
Oh?
Gibson said a man approached him outside the aircraft works, remember? Tall, thin man, about my height.
Oh, yes.
Have you noticed the back of Addison's left hand?
No. No, I didn't.
I did. Nasty scar on it. Man who hired Gibson had one, too. Mr. Leslie Addison.
You are listening to The Music Lovers, tonight's presentation on radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
With uncanny astuteness and with unmatchable speed, the FBI in Peace and War breaks open a vicious multi-state racket in the shipment of perishable foods by playing on the greed of the wife of one of the racketeers involved in the tense story you'll hear over most of these same stations tomorrow night. If you like your drama packed with action, you'll really get a charge out of The Troublemaker, tomorrow night's thriller on the FBI in Peace and War.
And now we bring back to our Hollywood soundstage Mr. Ben Wright, starring in tonight's production, The Music Lovers, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
"58 Bronsbury Road was a pleasant house, quite large, with all the evidences of comfort and children, which would deny that such an incredible and foul murder had been committed within its walls. I left Flint and Inspector Mallinson to search the downstairs floors, and with Mrs. Addison went up the staircase. The whole thing seemed quite impossible. This rather tall and lovely grey-haired woman, the music in the drawing room floating after us. But I kept thinking of a scar on a man's hand.
I suppose you want to look into all the rooms, Inspector?
If please.
My husband tells me that you think a man was murdered here.
Quite right, madam.
This is my son's bedroom. I'll put on the light. But please make as little noise as you can. He's asleep. Only 9, you know.
Of course.
Would you mind telling me what you expect to find, Inspector?
Where a murder has been committed, Mrs. Addison, we look for anything that may help us in a solution.
My daughter's room.
Ah.
She's 13. A likely age for a murderess, don't you think?
Mm-hmm. That door?
My room and my husband's. You'll find no skeleton in that cupboard, Inspector. Now, don't you feel rather silly about this, Inspector? If you've made a mistake, we shan't laugh at you. We shan't report it either.
That's very kind of you, Mrs. Addison.
It's utter nonsense. You don't think for one moment if Leslie had done this awful thing that we should have allowed the children to be here, do you?
The very fact that he might have done it at all seems to make the qualifying element rather academic.
Hendon!
Yes.
Something's down here.
Right.
I hope you don't mind if I return to my guests.
Not at all, madam. We may have to join you in a little while.
That would be extremely impertinent of you.
Police, crime, arrest. They're all impertinent, Mrs. Addison.
I find your manner unspeakably rude. Both my husband and I have tried to help because we thought this was an important police matter. We shall report it to the commissioner in the morning. As soon as you've finished your ridiculous search, I must ask you to leave the house.
Yeah, I wouldn't be at all surprised if that lady turns out to be the leader of this mob.
Pretty cool. What have you found?
Oh, down this way.
We were quite convinced by now that this house harbored the core of a fanatic group whose seeming harmlessness made their operations all the more dangerous. Mallinson led me to a room at the far end of the house, a room which was soundproof, but we knew that when we closed the door and the sound of the music was completely obliterated.
Looks quite inoffensive, doesn't it? Desk, a few chairs, books.
Yes, it does. What did you find?
Well, they're pretty careful to get rid of all traces of Spencer's residence in here. But they missed something. Look at this, on the carpet.
It looks like impressions of a cot or a couch.
That's what I think.
The kids don't even know he's in here. They can't hear a thing outside. What a charming couple.
Oh, lovely parents, too, I'll bet. Kiss the children good night, and then come down and tear out a fingernail or two.
You know, the awful thing is that they think that what they're doing is right. And they pass the poison on to a 9-year-old boy and a 13-year-old girl. Hello. Hey, do you see this?
What?
Under the desk. They should have watched him more carefully.
It looks like a stain, a coffee or tea or something.
Yes, it is. Convenience stain. Spells G.S. See? He left his calling card for us.
Jeffrey Spencer. That does it.
Right. Oh, this is going to be a nice thing for the kids upstairs. Mother and father arrested for murder and treason.
Yes, well, maybe it's better for them now than later. What the devil are we going to do with them?
Well, we'll take them along and then investigate relatives. If we find somebody with a healthy mind, perhaps they'll take them in. Oh, well, let's get it over with. We left the soundproof room, and I shut the door on a modern scene of inquisition. There were 8 people in the drawing room, including the Addisons. It was an extraordinary tableau. Music, warm winter fire, brandy glasses, friendliness of an upper-middle-class home. And the people, the only dissonant note. They watched us come in, wary, perhaps a little frightened. And as I looked at the faces, I wondered how many of them shared the guilt.
Are you satisfied now, Inspector?
Yes, thank you.
I'll see you to the door.
Mrs. Addison, will you please wake up your children and get them dressed? I'll wait.
I think this has gone far enough. Leslie, ring up Scotland Yard.
There's no point to it, you know. Now, if you have any feelings at all for your children, you'll make it as easy as you can for them.
How dare you invade the privacy of my home? Come out with this frightful accusation. I've never...
We have proof that Geoffrey Spencer was held prisoner in this house, and that you vainly attempted to extort government information from him. He died from the injuries you inflicted. All right, now, everyone in this room is under arrest. If you're not involved, you'll not be charged.
The fascist British police. I knew we'd live to see it.
Did you, Mrs. Addison? That's odd. Because I hoped that I would never live to see what I'd seen here tonight. Paid spies, living your lie in comfort with everything you condemn. They're worse than the people who hire you. Someday we'll exterminate the lot. And when we do, perhaps a kid like yours upstairs will have a chance.
You ought to pass out tracts on a street corner, Inspector. God and country.
Quite worthwhile reading matter, I think, sir. Flint, ring the yard and ask him to send a van here, would you?
Yes, sir.
Suspense, in which Mr. Ben Wright starred on tonight's presentation of The Music Lovers. Next week, Suspense will be heard at a new time. Be sure to check your local newspaper and join us when we again bring you another presentation of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense. Suspense is produced and directed in Hollywood by Anthony Ellis, who also wrote tonight's story of Suspense. The music was composed by Rene Gargank and conducted by Leith Stevens. Featured in the cast were Richard Peel, Bill Shepard, Irene Tedrow, Raymond Lawrence, Stan Jones, and Hans Conried.
One of the best ways anybody can celebrate the independence of the United States this 4th of July is to resolve and fulfill the resolution to be careful in handling matches, cigarettes, and campfires anytime you're in or around a wooded area. Our forest land provides us with many of the comforts of our lives. Trees help prevent soil erosion. They provide shelter for animal life. They help maintain watersheds. And if we were to count up the number of wooden objects that each of us uses during the course of a single day, the number would be staggering. If you love America, help protect one of our greatest natural resources. Help prevent forest fires. Stay tuned now for 5 minutes of CBS News, to be followed on most of these same stations by My Son Jeep. America listens most to the CBS Radio Network.
And now, tonight's presentation of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense. Tonight, we bring you a factual story, the dramatization of one man's deadly way of earning his living. All he needed was the morning newspaper, a telephone, and a gun. So now, starring Mr. Stacey Harris, here is tonight's suspense play, Want Ad.
Well, you see, a guy in my line works alone, more or less. At least he should. Well, when I first got into town, I met a little lady. And after we'd known each other a couple of months or better, we got married. As a matter of fact, it worked out pretty well, because every morning she'd get up ahead of me and fix me some eggs and coffee. Pretty nice, huh? The little lady's name is Wilma.
Baby? Baby?
Hey, you through with the funnies?
Uh-huh. Do you have to work today?
Yeah, afraid so.
Oh, I was hoping we could spend a quiet day together. Here. You know, sort of lie around, look at the paper and everything.
Baby, you know I'd like that, but... Well, I've got other things I have to do.
Leave me all alone to spend the day with myself. I got a new dress. I could wear it.
That's fine, honey. It's fine. I better get busy.
You just never pay any attention.
Hmm?
Well, all right. Oh, baby. I think I'll go into shopping. I'll see you later.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Section 3. Pages 10 to 17. Now then, personals. George, come home. Addie, need you. Some people. Henderson will talk to you about your problem writing. Here we are. Okay. 298. Hello. I'm calling about an advertisement in this morning's paper. Do I have the right number? Yes, I am. What kind of a coat is it? Well, that sounds like something I might be interested in seeing. Yes, will you hold on a minute? I'll take that down. Okay. 1425 West... How do you spell that? Y-O-N... Yondota. Mm-hmm. Yes, in about an hour. Thank you. One for the money. 2 for the show. 3 to get ready. 4 to go. And 5 to make sure. And 6 to blow if I have to. How many women can go out and plunk down the kind of money it takes to walk out of a store with a mink coat? Huh? Not many? Well, for my dough, not any. That means that where there's a mink, you can bet there's a boyfriend or a husband around to pay for it. And you can bet that when the coat's got to go, that he's already gone, and the lady's got to eat. Get it? She's all alone, and she wants to sell her coat. How do you do?
Yes?
I'm Mr. Vernon. I called about your advertisement in the paper this morning.
Oh, yes, Mr. Vernon.
You haven't sold it yet?
Well, no, I haven't.
Oh, good.
Now, I don't want to do business with any dealer. I just don't want to be bothered with any dealers. Half a dozen have called me already. I hope you're not a dealer, Mr. Vernon.
Oh, do I look like a dealer?
Well, I just can't tell anymore. They're very clever people. I just want to sell the coat outright to somebody. Not on any contingency basis or anything just like that. Sell it outright. You know what I mean?
Yes, I know what you mean. But I'll have to see it before I can make my offer.
Well, all right. Come in.
Thanks.
Well, I'm Mrs. Phelps.
How do you do, Mrs. Phelps? Well, you have a very nice home here.
Oh, thank you.
Lived here long?
2 years. Would you like to step in here, please?
Oh, sure.
Oh, I've been plagued to death with all kinds of dealers. I don't know how, but some of them found my address without even calling the number I put in the paper.
Oh, they do things like that?
Oh, they sure do. Let me tell you, they certainly do. Well, here it is.
Oh, yes. Yes, that's very, very nice. Very, very nice. It's a silver blue mink, isn't it?
Yes.
Mrs. Phelps, could I ask you to put it on? It'd help me. You're about my wife's size.
Oh, sure.
Here, okay.
Now, here, you can see that it's cut very full. See? The sleeves are very full, too.
Mm-hmm.
Bat wing sleeves. And cuffs, too. Makes the coat very luxurious.
Yes, that's a lot of coat there. That's just a lot of coat, Mrs. Phelps.
Well, I love it. I just love it. My husband bought it for me a year ago, and I hate to have to sell it, but, well, I need the money. And you can see it's hardly worn at all.
Mm.
Look at the lining. See? It's all intact. Why, I don't think I wore this coat more than a dozen times.
Mrs. Phelps, how much did it cost retail?
Mr. Phelps paid $4,000 for it. These are the insurance papers. You can see what they insured it for.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you right now that a friend has already offered me $2,800 for it, and I wouldn't think of selling it for anywhere near that. Why, I'd rather keep it.
Think of selling it for $34?
34?
Yeah.
Well, that's still pretty cheap.
I don't have to tell you that if the coat's a year old, it's a $600 depreciation. That's not bad. I could possibly get the same coat new for $38. I doubt if you'll get a better offer than $34, Mrs. Phelps, and I'm willing to pay right now.
Well, I'd have to talk to my husband first.
Oh, is he here now?
He's not home right now, but he'll be here any minute. Oh, could you come back this afternoon?
I came to buy the coat now. I'm leaving town this afternoon. I thought you were ready to sell.
Well, all right, Mr. Vernon. I'll take... But, well, I don't know you at all. Now, you understand you'd have to give me a certified check or have to keep the coat until your check clears the bank.
I'll pay cash. I brought the cash with me.
Oh.
Is anything wrong with that?
Oh, no, Mr. Vernon. Why, I just didn't expect to sell it so quickly. I still have the box that came in, a perfectly lovely box. I'll give you that for nothing.
Nice. I would like a box.
You know, Mr. Vernon, you are getting a bargain, a real bargain in this coat. Oh, I tell you, my husband and I looked for almost 2 years before we found a mink that, just suited. You know what I mean? Now, you can buy any fur coat, mink or sable, I don't care what it is, and 30 days later, you hate the sight of it. But this one, your wife will never get tired of it. Isn't this a pretty box?
Yes, it is.
Now, you tell your wife to be sure and keep it in a fur storage vault during the warm months. You have to take care of mink, that's all there is to it.
Yes, I know. Something like this you really take care of.
Oh, yes. Well, she'll just love it, I know. Do you live around here?
On the east side.
Oh, it's lovely over there, just lovely. Whereabouts?
On the lake.
Isn't that nice? Well, now, there. How does that look?
Just fine.
I'm glad you came in the morning. I'll want to take the money to the bank right away. I hate to have to keep that much money around the house.
Yes, I figured you would, Mrs. Phelps, so I won't bother giving you the money.
What?
Well, then you won't have to make a trip to the bank or worry about money around the house.
Oh, you mean you want to give me a personal check?
I want to give you nothing.
But you did come here to buy this coat. Don't you want it?
Yep. I want it, lady.
Oh, you're a thief.
I sure am. Now, don't scream. Don't open your mouth.
Please, don't hurt me.
All right, over
Please,
there.
don't hurt me.
Go on.
Oh.
Oh, with $4,000, 1 year old. Oh, real good buy. You should have seen your face when I told you I'd give you $3,400 for it.
Oh.
I'm a thief. Oh, anybody could buy that coat new for $2,500. It'll bring me about $1,000 in the shape it's in right now. I'm a thief with a gun in my hand, taking what I want. Now you figure out what you'd be if you were counting my $3,400, huh? Oh, you're quite a cute kidder, Mrs. Phelps, but then I'm used to people like you. Now, go on, you get in there.
Please.
Go on, get in.
Don't take my coat, please. It's the only thing I have that's worth anything.
Well, that's how simple it works. I've been in the business for a little while now, and I know a few things about it. Of course, you got to watch your step and be ready for anything that happens, like today. Uh-oh.
Liz? Hey, Liz, I've been trying... Oh. Well, who are you?
Hi, who are you?
Well, I'm Frank Phelps. Who'd you say you were?
I didn't say. Besides, you wouldn't know me anyhow.
Where's Liz? Hey, that's Liz.
Is it?
And that's Liz's coat.
It's my gun.
Why, you... What have you done to her? What's been going on here?
Just hang on to your hat, brother, and you won't get hurt. She's okay.
No cheap crook's going to come into my house and pull a stunt like
now,
this.
Now, wait a minute.
I'll show you. You get the...
Get down and stay down. Well, you people will certainly have something to talk about over dinner tonight, won't you? Yeah. Something you can talk about, all right. Now, when the hard part's done, and it isn't usually as it was today, the next part is to get a hold of a fence who can use an ice mink coat. It's pretty easy. I use Walter myself. He takes the pain out of everything. I don't go to him, just a little old phone call, and he comes to me.
Sorry.
You what?
Oh, you blew it this time, boy. I don't want this thing. It's too hot. Keep it.
What's with you? You're getting touchy?
I'm not getting anything. I just don't want to do business with you anymore. No, sir.
Oh, now, wait a minute, you.
Get your hands off of me, boy. Get your hands off of me. A smash makes you big time, huh? Is that it? Gun whip turns you into Class A stuff? Well, hands off of me, boy. Last time I'll ask.
There's no sense in us arguing, Walter.
I'm going to try very hard, but I don't think I'm going to like you anymore. You're a killer now.
I'm a what?
The guy Phelps died this afternoon. It's in all the papers.
Shouldn't have run at me.
Is that what you're going to tell the cops when they drag you out of somewhere by the scuff of the neck?
Oh, no cop's going to do that to me.
They always grind off little punks like you, boy. You killed the guy. You beat him to death. You stole his wife's mink coat. There isn't any place they won't look for you, boy. And they know where to look for your kind. They won't stop till they find you. You're gone, boy. Just plain gone. Only you don't know it yet.
You're listening to Want Ad, tonight's presentation on radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
When you get right down to it, a patrolman's job is people. It's up to him, by and large, to help or insist that man get along with his neighbors. Even in the most desperate moments of the chase, a policeman must deal with the human equation. His story, therefore, is always dramatic, always highly charged with emotion. For another engrossing story of a patrolman, hear CBS Radio's realistic Thursday night drama, 21st Precinct, over most of these same stations tomorrow night.
And now we bring back to our Hollywood sound stage Mr. Stacey Harris, starring in tonight's production, Wanted, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
I know maybe a half a dozen fences in town. I only tried 2 of them after Walter. Those fellas are kind of chicken about some things. They get a little action with a piece of merchandise and they get scared. Of course, they're all afraid of something or the other.
Are you thinking, hon? Is that what you're doing, thinking?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
About that man. Didn't he want the coat?
No, he didn't want it.
Such a pretty coat. Oh, baby. I wish we had a fireplace. I wish we had a big, big fireplace and we could just sit in front of a fire on a rainy night like this and everything. That'd be nice, wouldn't it, baby?
Yeah, sure would.
We could drink hot coffee maybe and listen to music. Make fudge, huh? Do you like my new thing?
What?
This. Isn't it pretty?
Yeah, it's like $1 million, like a whole $1 million.
I liked it, so I bought it just like that. You hardly look.
I'm going to have to leave town. I'll have to get out of here. I'll have to go where they can't find me. That's what I'll do. I'll leave town. It'll be okay. Pretty soon they won't be looking for me, and everything will be all right.
Baby?
Just take a couple of things. A suit, some shirts. Won't be hard. There's nothing to stop me from getting out of town.
Oh, baby.
Honey, what's the matter? I say something?
You're going to leave me.
Oh,
You're
now,
going
look,
away.
kid, I have to go. Don't you understand? Puddin', I have to leave town. If I don't, they're going to get me.
They won't get you here. Just stay here with me.
Honey, I have to go. Now, look, I have to go.
Take me with you.
What?
Let me go with you. We can have some real nice time some other place.
Where?
The same as we did here, please.
Sure, I'll take you. I'll take you with me.
Oh, baby, you're so good to me.
Wait a minute. I haven't got time for that. We've got to get busy. We've got to get a car first.
But we haven't got any money.
Look, how did I get the coat? How'd I get all those other coats?
Oh, but Ralph, you can't do that anymore. That man who was here said they're looking for you. You can't do that anymore. They'll be waiting for you.
He says I can't. I say I can. Now, don't you see how I use my head? All right, they're waiting for me. Okay. But they're waiting for a guy with a fur coat on his mind. But, baby, I'm now a guy with a car on his mind. Get it?
Oh, baby, you're so smart. Oh, gee, you're smart.
Well, sir, with little old Wilma wiggling around in my arms, I began to go over the new idea myself. It's pretty good. So the next day when the paper came, I went right to work.
I wish it was a Rolls Royce, honey. I always wanted a Rolls Royce.
Well, someday maybe I'll get you one, honey.
Baby, I love that.
Wait a minute. Hello? Sorry, wrong number. There's a man. What's the next number there, baby?
PR. I guess that's Prospect. 3217.
3217.
For sale. Like new. Late model. Convertible private party.
Hello? You advertised a late model convertible for sale? I see. What make is it? Uh-huh. How much are you asking? Well, could you give me an approximate amount? Yeah, I see. Well, when will your husband be home? Well, I'd like to come around and see it. Okay. Yeah. 27 Pierpont. Yes, thank you. Hey, baby, this is the one. This is the one.
Which one is the one?
Like new late model convertible.
Oh. Well, what was the matter with the others, baby?
I told you, a man answered on the others I called. This time a woman answered.
Oh.
Now, don't you see, it's the same thing. A woman trying to sell a car or a coat. She's alone, no one around. It makes it safer.
Oh, I see. You like my new hat?
Yeah, fine. It's a knockout, baby. Real knockout.
I'll wear it in the car. What kind of car did you say it is?
It's convertible. Big new convertible.
Oh, well, it looks so swell going down the highway in a big convertible. Maybe we can put the top down.
Sure we can. Now, look, I told her we'd be right over to look at the car. You come with me, huh? It'll look better if you come with me.
Oh, there won't be any trouble. I mean, the police are looking for you, aren't
Now,
they?
you let me worry about the police. There won't be any trouble at all. You just keep your new hat on and come with me, baby, huh?
All right. I'll dress all up.
Well, it took her a while, but I finally got her over there. It's a very nice-looking house. Just the kind of a place where they had to have a convertible to show off a little bit. Just my meat. Wilma thought it was a very nice place, too. Baby? The gum.
Oh, juicy fruit. Want some?
No. Take the gum out, baby.
Oh.
And, look, you better let me do all the talking. I've been at this kind of thing for a long time now, huh?
You know best. Do I look all right?
Yeah, swell. Just swell.
Hello?
Hello. I'm the man about the car.
Oh, yes.
I'm Mr. Watson. This is Mrs. Watson?
Oh, come in, please. Come in.
Well, you see, we'd like to see the car if we could. We're in kind of a hurry.
The car's in the garage in the back. It's just easier to come through the house.
Oh, I see. All right. Good.
This way.
Something funny about this.
What?
If she had a car for sale, she'd have it sitting out in the driveway in front, not hidden out in the garage.
After the rain last night, I thought it best to keep it in the garage. I wanted it to look nice to show today.
Oh, silly. Come on.
I'll bet you two are newly married.
Oh, no.
We've been married for some time now.
You just look like newlyweds somehow. This way.
Oh.
This is my husband, Mr. and Mrs. Watson.
Oh, Mr. Watson.
How do you do, I'm sure.
You seem familiar, Mr. Watson. You lived here long?
No, just passing through, as a matter of fact.
Where you staying?
At the Alpine Hotel.
How long did you say you've been in town?
A week.
What do you do for a living?
I'm an electrician.
Where'd you say you were from?
Cleveland.
What part?
Shaker Heights.
This must be quite different than Shaker Heights, eh, Mrs. Watson?
Oh, it is. It is. Isn't it?
Eh? What do you think of the car?
Boy, I haven't really had a chance to look at it yet.
Well, there she is. Take a look.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice car, all right. What are you asking for it?
Blue Book's paying $32 for this model right now. Cost you $38 on a lot. We'll compromise. $35.
Well, sounds pretty good. It's a little steep, though. I'll tell you what, how about $34?
Can you get someone to carry the papers?
Oh, I can pay for it myself.
You brought cash?
No, but I can go over to the bank and get it if you'll give me an hour.
No cash, huh?
Well, you didn't expect me to walk in here with $3,400 on me, did you? Well, I don't know you people from Adam. No offense, you understand, but a man would be crazy to carry that much money around strangers.
What bank?
What was that?
He asked you what bank you'd go to get the money.
Oh, well, any bank. I just draw a draft on myself on my Cleveland account.
You say you're an electrician, Mr. Watson.
Yes, that's right.
Is your name really Watson?
What's that?
Don't you usually look for fur coats?
Look for what?
What's your real name?
Huh?
Your real name. What is it?
Baby.
Shut up. Let her talk.
Now, look, I came here to buy a car. Now, what is this, huh?
There's the car. Buy it.
Well, I'd like to try it out first. Baby, will you shut up? Come on, please, shut up.
You have some identification.
Identification? Baby, will you just shut up?
What's the matter with your wife?
I don't know. I don't know.
We thought you might be needing a car.
You thought what?
I said we thought you might be needing a car to make a trip in.
Mister, I don't know what you're talking about.
You know a man named Phelps? Frank Phelps?
1425 West Yondover.
Oh, look, I told you, I'm new here. I don't know this town at all. I don't know any Frank Phelps.
Frank Phelps was killed yesterday. A man went into his house, stole a mink coat from his wife, then used his gun on Frank Phelps when he came home unexpectedly. He beat him to death, Watson. Just stood there and beat him to death.
I don't know any Frank Phelps.
I think you do.
I don't, I tell you. I don't. Do I, baby?
No, honest, he doesn't, and neither do I.
Mrs. Watson.
Yes.
You know we're police officers, don't you?
Yes.
I want to ask you one question.
Yes.
Why are you wearing Mrs. Phelps' mink coat?
What? I didn't think you'd mind. You never pay any attention to the things I wear. You just never pay any attention at all. Oh, baby.
Baby? Huh? Let's go.
We went. And let me tell you this in case you want to think something over later. Always work alone. Always. That's one little old rule I'm sticking to from now on. Yes, sir, and the next time it's going to be different. But, well, that don't make any difference either, because there isn't going to be any next time for me.
Suspense, in which Mr. Stacey Harris starred in tonight's presentation of Want Ad. Be sure to join us next Wednesday when we again bring you another presentation of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense. Suspense is produced and directed in Hollywood by Anthony Ellis. Tonight's script was written for Suspense by E. Jack Newman. The music was composed by Rene Garrigank and conducted by Leith Stevens. Featured in the cast were Mary Jane Croft, Paula Winslow, Joseph Kearns, Virginia Gregg, Jack Moyles, and Lou Krugman.
And now, a public service message from CBS Radio. Remember that phrase, one of our aircraft is missing? Another time around, it might be, one of our cities is missing. Radar can spot enemy aircraft before they reach our cities, but there are gaps which only your eyes can fill. CBS Radio suggests write or telephone your nearest Civil Defense Center, or write to Ground Observer Corps, Air Force, Washington, D.C., to learn how you can serve in our Ground Observer Corps. Stay tuned now for 5 minutes of CBS News, to be followed on most of these same stations by My Son Jeep. You hear America's favorite shows on the CBS Radio Network.
And now, tonight's presentation of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense. Tonight, we bring you the story of a man who wanted to become important and the crime he committed to accomplish it. So now, starring Mr. Tony Barrett with Mr. William Conrad, here is tonight's suspense play, The Man Who Threw Acid. He was a young man serving his second year in the city assembly. And because he believed in honest government, he wanted to enact restraining legislation against the racketeers. At first, the older men, the wheels of the political machine, laughed at him, patted him on the back, gave him a cigar. They liked him because he reminded them of their lost ideals, wasted energy. And then they began to listen to him, wondering. The young assemblyman said in council,
I wasn't elected to this office to see my wife and kids or anybody else's wife and kids dictated to by the racketeers and the hoodlums in this city. That's what's happening. Dope, gambling, mugging, the protection racket started again. If the chief of police won't or can't do anything about it, I say we should. Make laws. Put teeth in them. Get rid of the big boys who run the rackets and we'll have a clean city.
It wasn't a brilliant speech, not in content or in delivery, but it made its point. And the young assemblyman kept on making his point. The older, wiser city fathers began to take notice. So did the press. And so did the big boys, the racketeers. And the man who was considered the boss called a meeting. There was no red tape involved, no orders in triplicate, a simple direct edict from the top. And the organization was such that at 7 o'clock that evening, a hireling had been contacted. His name was Steve Kleiber, a thin, pasty-faced man of 42 who looked no more than 35. He lived on the fringes of gangster society, and like so many of his kind, was still considered a punk. He was desperately trying to gain a toehold before it was too late, because a middle-aged punk is the lowest form of underworld life, a lackey. The boss's contact explained the situation about the assembly.
That's a snap, Steve.
Just throw acid in his face and beat him?
Yeah.
$200?
For doing nothing.
You get the acid from me.
Sure, Steve.
You put the finger in it?
I'll be all set.
There's nothing else to it?
I told you.
The assembly guy is important.
Look, you want the job. It's none of your business. How come? Just do you want to do it?
Well, I was just thinking, if it is kind of important and you want me, maybe put in a word for me, huh? With the boss, maybe?
Oh, now, Steve. The boss don't know anything about this. It's a private good.
Yeah. Okay, sure. You will pay me now?
Half now. The other 100 when you've done it.
Yeah. Okay.
Kleiber was told to wait until he was contacted again. Then the asset would be delivered to him with further instructions. The hired man went home to his apartment and to his girl. He was happy. He had a big job. He had been accepted by the mob. Perhaps his luck had changed. He told his girl,
$200, honey. This could be it. What I've been waiting for. Just a drop in a bucket to what I'll get in the next job.
Oh, that's swell, Stevie. Well, what have they got you doing?
Honey, you know better than ask. But I tell you this, it's big. Oh, I'll tell you that. Some of the wise guys are going to be saying hello to Steve Kleiber before long.
You going to take me out for Chinese dinner for celebration?
Hey, sure I will. We'll have anything. Anything you want.
it was a night for celebration because plans had been made to throw acid in a man's face. The boss celebrated and took his wife to a movie. The contact man celebrated, got drunk, and cried about his dead mother. And Steve Kleiber went to bed with indigestion following a too-rich dinner. The assemblyman sat up late into the night writing the draft of an anti-racketeer speech to be made at Rotary the next day. A week later, Kleiber received a phone call. He was told to meet his contact in the park at 11 o'clock. He went to the designated place.
Hi, Steve. You're on time. That's good. Get ahead, boy.
Light being late.
Now, here's the stuff in this bag. I'll turn a pint jar with a wide mouth. That way you won't have as much chance of missing. Oh, you better wear gloves, too. You don't want to get burned. There's a glove in the bag. You right-handed?
Lefty.
So wear it on the left hand. It won't matter.
When will I do it?
5:30.
Today?
Yeah.
Where?
I think you're coming out of the athletic club. You've got a 6 o'clock appointment. You'll leave the club about 5:30.
How am I going to know him?
Pictures, yeah. Take a look at him.
Yeah.
Now, he looks like these pictures, so you won't have to worry. You can't miss him.
Yeah. Can I keep these?
Yeah.
What'll I do after it's all this stuff?
Ditch the bottle. Break it. And don't touch it without you wearing a glove. No prints on it.
Okay. Then what?
Take off.
Ain't gonna have a car to pick me up?
It's too risky. Cars can be traced. Someone sees the license. You shouldn't have any trouble, though. It's a quiet street, buildings near it. No, it is in the corner.
Yeah.
Okay, you're right off the main drag. Just get lost in the car, then don't run. By the time anyone figures out what happened, well, you ought to be home.
Hey, seems to me I'm taking some chance for a lousy 200.
Put it back what I gave you. I get somebody else.
No, wait. It's okay. But I sure hope you guys appreciate the risk I'm taking.
We appreciate it. On speed.
Yeah.
Then we should go on like say you do get picked up. You don't talk. Huh? No. Not even mine.
Nobody gets me to talk.
Nah, that's not the way. No. I'll be seeing you. You come around to the bar for your dough when it's finished, and I'll leave it there for you.
He had 6 hours to kill before doing the job. Standing outside the entrance to the park, he was undecided. 6 hours. And he moved casually to the bus stop and correctly, obediently took his place in line behind 3 other passengers as the bus pulled in. A very ordinary man, carrying a paper sack in which was a jar of acid and a glove. He went to a favorite hangout, a bar at the east end of town, not because he needed a drink. He wasn't nervous, but rather because he hoped to run into some of the boys. So he wouldn't tell them anything, but he'd let them understand that he was onto something big.
Hey, what do you say, Harry? Ain't the boys been, huh?
Early. What's it gonna be? You want a beer?
Nothing like that. Something fancy. I'm celebrating, boy. Give me something fancy.
What do you want?
Oh, I don't know. Something with bourbon, huh? Good bourbon.
Soda, water?
Old-fashioned, huh? Put everything in it. Make an old-fashioned. Make one for yourself, Harry. And me.
Too early.
Come on, help me celebrate.
I never celebrate till after 5.
Well, at 5, I'm going to be tied up. I'm sorry. At 5, I got an appointment. Big appointment.
Uh-huh. How are you, Harry? Morning, Lou. How's everything?
Well, it couldn't be better.
Fine.
What do you say, Lou?
No, Steve.
Well, you've been kidding yourself, huh?
Go on. Hey, Harry, break a quarter for me. Gotta make a phone call. Sure.
How about joining me, Lou? Old-fashioned.
No, no.
That's a good drink. Listen. Say, Lou, you got any good tips?
Here's your change, Lou.
Oh, thanks. Lou? What? I said anything good on it today. Thought I'd put 50 across the border to get where'd you get $50, punk? You know, it's funny the way you guys call me. That's really funny.
Old-fashioned. 65 cents.
Huh? Oh, sure. Thanks, Harry. Hope you can change your 20. It's the smallest I got. Yeah, that's what it is. Seeing you guys call me punk is pretty funny. You got a little prize coming in, boy.
Yeah? No, I'll live.
Thanks, Harry.
It's okay.
Forget the tip, Lou. I just thought I'd do you a favor, give you a fin if the horse comes through, but from now on I do my business uptown direct. You do that. Nerve of that guy, you hear him? Small time, and he's calling me... Oh, it's good old-fashioned, Harry. That's the best. You sure know how to make them, all right.
Uh-huh. The drink was too sweet. He didn't like it. But it was gulped down. He wanted to show them the bottle of acid. Tell them. That would make them know he wasn't a punk anymore. Instead, he pocketed his change and sauntered out. There was little better than 5 hours to kill. So he went to a movie. It was a triple feature. And when he came out, blinking in the strong sunlight, the time was 4 o'clock. Holding the paper sack carefully, he took a bus uptown and noted the traffic was getting heavy. At 4:30, he walked past the athletic club and into a drugstore across the street. Sitting at the counter, he leafed through a detective magazine and drank 2 large Cokes. The assemblyman had played handball, taken a shower, and by 5 o'clock was dressed and on his way out. His companion suggested a cocktail, but because of his appointment at 6, he begged off.
Wish I could, but it'll take me an hour to get out there. I'll take a rain check for next week. So long. Say hello to the wife and kids.
Steve Kleiber was waiting outside the drugstore when the assemblyman emerged from the athletic club. He recognized the man immediately and crossed the street. By the time the assemblyman reached his car and was unlocking the door, Kleiber was behind him, the jar held firmly in his gloved hand. There was no one else in sight.
Hey, mister. Yes? Here's something for you.
Steve Kleiber didn't see the assemblyman clawing at his face. He dashed the jar to the street and ran to the corner, and a moment was lost among the 5 o'clock homecoming crowd. He felt pride in the smoothness of his accomplishment. His nerve had held up. He proved himself as a man to be trusted. Any punk could do a good job with a gun, but he had performed a task few men could have done better. Cold, sure, perfect timing. He went home to his girl, and as he relived the moment in telling, he felt himself become flushed, hot with excitement.
So I figured it out. See, think like a shotgun. You know when you shoot a shotgun, the lead spreads out? So I figured the same with the acid. Get close enough, just close enough so it won't spread. I was 3 feet. 3 feet. That's when I said, hey, mister. And it's been around. Boy, you could have put me on the Olympics the way I took off. You should have seen me go.
I didn't.
Huh? Well, honey, I'm just telling you.
It's an awful thing doing a thing like that.
I don't get you. It's a job, that's all.
How come you didn't tell me that's what you were going to do?
Well, why should I tell you? It's none of your business. I tell you now because I thought you'd be interested.
I'm not.
Well, that's a fine thing.
I'm hungry. Let's go eat.
No. Think of a couple of days, lay low, just to be sure, you know. Now, look, you go on down Delicatessen and get some stuff. Then lady can go down to Harry's and pick up $100 from me. We'll be there.
By 7 o'clock, the extras were on the street. By 10 that night, the entire city knew what had happened. And the man who had ordered it to happen, the boss, was at home smoking a cigar, reading. His wife came in and said,
I just heard the news on the radio.
What news?
Some man threw acid in somebody's face. He's a representative or a senator or something in the city.
No kidding.
Gee, that's terrible. Awful. Boy, I hope they get him. The man that did it.
Yeah.
And a phone call came into the boss on his private line. He listened for a long time. His cigar went out. He looked puzzled.
You still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh. Well, it's like I said. He ain't dead, but it might be better if he was. The cops are really out tonight.
Who did the job?
Oh, some punk. Steve Kleiber?
Does he know anything?
Yeah, I don't think so. I had a good boy give him the word.
Clear. Don't worry, in a couple of days it'll quiet down.
But the boss was disturbed. His wife's reaction disturbed him. The phone call, what he had heard himself on the newscast disturbed him. The violent act had all the earmarks of a boomerang. Rather than instilling fear, the purpose for which the deed was done, it had brought out swift and great anger. Kleiber was worried, too. His girl had gone to the bar and returned empty-handed. The second $100 installment of his payment was not there. His contact had not been seen that day. The next morning, a reward of $5,000 was posted for the apprehension of the man who threw acid. And by afternoon, the prize money had risen to $12,000. Kleiber read the newspapers that night and was frightened.
Listen, hey, I better get out of here. Some of these rats get an idea to turn me into that kind of door, I'm in trouble.
Yeah. Maybe you better.
Look, you get down to Harry's again, huh? I need that $100. I'll have to get out of town for a while.
What's the use? He ain't going to be there. They made you a sucker.
After what I've done for you, crazy, a nice, clean job. Now, listen, I'm going to hide out. I know a place in town. Till you get the dope, huh?
How can I get it?
Well, try, will you? There's a flop house. I'll write you down the address. If I'm not there, I'll be in the Grand Theater. You know where it is?
I know.
Okay. If anybody asks you to see me, you say, no, I left town, all right?
Okay. Hey, what about me? What do I do for money?
Honey, I gave you $10 yesterday.
Well, it might take a couple of days to get your 100.
What? Yeah. All right, here. There's 20. I can't give you more.
All right.
Now, look, you won't let me down, kid. You'll find him and give me the door.
What do you want me to do? Write it in blood?
All right. Thanks, honey. I'll make it up to you.
I bet.
I'll see you.
What a dirty little punk.
At first, only a handful of people knew who had done the job. The boss, a half a dozen of his associates, the contract man, and Kleiber's girl. And then the bookmaker, Lou, remembered the incident with Kleiber in Harry's bar.
Harry? Yeah, never the same. Hold on a minute. Hey, you seen Steve Kleiber around the last couple of days? No. I was just wondering. Oh. Remember the day he was in 2-3 days back? Day the guy got a face full of acid? Remember him talking big, flashing a 20? Yeah. Oh, what do you think? I'll tell you, his girl's been in a few times looking for an envelope he's supposed to get. She's been asking for someone, if that means anything. Uh-huh. You know what the reward is? Last I heard, $12,000. Why? It's a big snake. I don't want to be in that guy's shoes. If Steve did it, I don't want to be in his shoes. Me neither.
The police had no lead, but they had an aroused city on their side. They weren't working alone. Every citizen was a potential ally, every news agency a powerful voice. The reward mounted. In a week it had reached $40,000. The money was offered by the city, by indignant groups and individuals. Kleiber was no longer a punk. He was a dangerous animal, a big man. And he waited in dark places. Waited for his girl to bring him $100 so that he could run further, to get away. The police, the district attorney's office began asking questions, lots of questions. And they started with the boss. They weren't playing games now.
Why do you keep asking me? I don't know anything about it. Some nut probably who doesn't like a no-smoking law or something. Why don't you guys lay off me?
But they didn't lay off him. And he knew something had to be done quickly. He called his associates together.
This city's not healthy with Kleiber running around loose. I get the feeling we better get to him before the cops do. He might know something. If he starts talking, we're all in trouble.
Shouldn't be hard. Up to a dozen guys on the look for him right now. $40,000 ain't hay.
I don't want him turned in. I want him killed.
Yeah. Well, we'll get on it right away.
It took 3 hours, and the word was out. To every petty racketeer, hoodlum, gunman, the word was find Kleiber. If you turn him into the cops, we'll get you. Just find him and pass the word to the right man. You'll get paid off. The boss wanted him dead, not alive. Kleiber hadn't heard from his girl for 2 days. In desperation, he took a chance and telephoned Harry's bar, asked for the contact man. Harry said,
That's you, Steve.
Yes, yeah.
Where are you?
Never mind, yeah.
Wait a minute. Hello?
Listen, I got that money. I've got to have it. What are you trying to do?
Oh, now, don't get excited, kid. We had a little trouble. Had to lay low. I'm sorry about it. Where are you, Steve? I'll get it to you right away.
Never mind where I am. You give it to...
Your girl? Well, Steve, I would, because haven't you heard? She left town yesterday. She's gone off the coast. Now, Steve, why don't you tell me where you are, and I'll get it...
He was afraid, more afraid than he'd ever been in his life. He'd read the papers, knew the whole city was after him. And now he knew from the sound of that voice, they were after him, too. There was nobody to trust now. His girl, everything gone. And even in his fear, he still didn't quite understand why it was happening. He'd done the job he'd been told to do, done it well. And they'd all double-crossed him. The big boys. He didn't understand. One thing he did know now, however, he was valuable. He was worth money. But was it his life that was valuable? Or perhaps they'd find him, kill him, and then turn him in. The reward didn't say anything about being alive. As he left the cigar store, he didn't see the proprietor pick up the telephone.
Hello? This is Shack, corner 5th. I thought you'd like to know Steve Clyburn was just in here. Not a phone call. Yeah. He just went out, walking east. I'm in trouble. I'm in bad trouble. Punks, a lot of them double-crossed. I'm in trouble. I'm scared. Well, I shouldn't be out like this. I gotta find someplace to hide out. Where? They'll get me. They'll be looking. They'll get me.
And he felt safer walking because every place, any place that he might want to go as shelter was now a trap. He saw the police station at exactly the same moment he saw the black car around the corner. And a sixth sense told him what was about to happen. He started to run toward the police station.
Cop! You give me protection! Hey! I'm the guy through the acid! I'm the guy!
Suspense, in which Mr. Tony Barrett and Mr. William Conrad starred in tonight's presentation of The Man Who Threw Acid.